This week on the Steam Machine podcast, when your mom says you got Pokemon at home and hey, it's actually pretty good. Cue the music! Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Steam Machine podcast. My name is Dalton, and joining me as always, the Destructo Bros.
Hey, what's up everybody? It's Nate.
Willie in the house.
And gentlemen, we have a guest. He's the one, he's the only. You can find him on YouTube talking about handhelds. And if you want your handheld, I'm sure he would accommodate that as well. TeamRetrogue, Mikolov. Mikolov, how you doing, buddy?
Starfield is a 6. I'm calling it now.
Okay, you got it in.
We did tell you that you had to say it on the show.
I'm officially recanting my 9. It is a 6. I'm literally turning it upside down.
Brian, you gotta be paying attention now, man. The keeper of the database.
The keeper. Yeah, man. How you doing, buddy? How you been this week?
Hanging in there. Midterms are finally over.
Woo!
So, other than that, I don't know. I'm just living the dream, I guess. Being a dad to a 3-year-old who likes to call me an asshole.
Well, are you an asshole?
I must have been at the time, because I told him he couldn't have dinner in his bedroom. He needed to come sit at the table. I took his dinner from him. I put it on the table. I took him. I plopped him in the chair. He looks me straight in the eyes and goes, "You're an asshole."
To be fair, at one point, when our nephew was like 4 years old, he called our dad, his grandfather, a peckerhead.
Kids, man.
It's like I was sitting next to Daphne one night and she was doing something on her tablet and she got frustrated. She just goes, "Ah, fuck!" And I looked at her and I was like, "What'd you just say?" And she looked at me and just went back to doing what she was doing. And I was like, "Okay, so you know what you just said." What? So it was like a week later, Brandy's like, "So have you heard Daphne say fuck yet?" And I went, "Yeah, I have." She's like, "You didn't tell me?" I was like, "No, I didn't, because I wasn't 100% sure that's what she said."
And I'm not a fucking narc.
That too.
Yeah, that too. Like, I'm not going to get her in trouble. It's harmless.
Yeah, I don't have too much else going on other than the little game that I played with you guys that I tried desperately hard to beat before the show and failed successfully.
You put in a valiant fucking...
He did. He was beating, like, just didn't get there.
I'm more than likely I'm going to beat it either tomorrow or Friday, but I so wanted to beat it for the show. I thankfully I'm close enough that I can, talk about it as much as possible.
I think you have about 4 hours left out of about a 30-hour game, so like you're definitely good.
Yeah.
I've definitely done shows where I knew way less about the game.
Yeah, no, thankfully I got to the major plot reveal, so when we're ready to talk about that, I'm not going to have that spoiled for me, so that's where I'm at. Just played some Nexomon and got called an asshole by a 3-year-old.
Sounds like a good week, in my opinion.
Stop being an asshole, man.
Yeah, work on that, I guess.
Nate, what about you, buddy?
Yeah, so this last weekend, I ended up going to New York City for the first time ever.
Zip!
We're literally one state over from me.
Yeah, it happens, bro. I've been in the same state as Dalton and not seen him, so you'll live.
This is true. He's been in the same state as me within driving distance of like an hour and a half, and we still didn't meet up. So yeah, don't feel too bad.
He literally went to St. Augustine, which is literally one of Dalton's haunts.
Yeah.
So
one of these days I'm going to invent the Steam Machine convention, which is literally just going to be all of us in the Discord meeting in person and going out to a bar.
Steamy prom, let's go.
Stevie Pro.
Nate, did you get any pizza in New York?
No, it didn't really get to do a whole lot of the eating things because let's be real about New York City. That fucking place is overwhelming as hell. Like,
yes, it is, dude. It's a concrete jungle.
Yeah. Where dreams are made of, there's nothing you can do. So
did you say you heard that song like 400 times when your ass was up there?
Okay, so to be fair, like we stayed basically in Times Square at the Knickerbocker Hotel. And so, like, anytime you go out doing anything, there's all these people trying to make money off of people like me, you know, huge tourists. So every other little street vendor is playing some song that's related to New York City. So it's just like...
Oh, I bet you heard that Frank Sinatra song 100 times,
So you stayed in Times Square.
Yeah.
So you got to see what I was talking about then, where at nighttime, it just looks like it's like 4 p.m. because it's so fucking bright out there with all the lights.
Oh yeah, dude! It's daytime. The city never sleeps, man. Yeah, so we flew into LaGuardia, and so it was just kind of interesting. Like we took an Uber from LaGuardia to Times Square, essentially, and it was just like get down there, like holy shit! Like it wasn't that far. Like I didn't realize how like close everything kind of was. Like from LaGuardia straight up to Times Square is like a less than a 30-minute drive. But if it wasn't for traffic, it'd be like. Say it was in my town, that'd be like 10 minutes and you're there, right?
Yeah, dude, absolutely.
And so like, it was really cool, like getting in there and everything. And then we went to the hotel and got unpacked and we're like, all right, we're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. But like, it was just so hard trying to do anything. We didn't go within like any more than like 3 blocks from the hotel because it was just like, this is intimidating. This place, you need to have like a full thing planned out, and the only thing we've really had planned out was we were going to go see Sweeney Todd on Broadway.
Hell yeah!
That's not a dinner location plotted, didn't you?
No, not really. We thought we did, but then we went there, and it was just like 45-minute wait. And we're like, no thanks. So we just went back and ate at the hotel restaurant, which didn't have any wait at all, which was like nice.
Were you going to go to the 2-story Olive Garden?
You guys made reservation.
No, I was going to go to the Olive
Garden. That cracked me up that the Olive Garden in Times Square is 2 stories. I'm like, dude, you're in New York City. You're in New York. You're going to Olive Garden. Not you, just the royal you of people. You're going to Olive Garden.
When you're there, your family.
Your uncle and your dad are trying to fight.
Hold on, let's just go to Olive Garden. It'll all be better. Okay?
So, yeah.
I haven't seen this.
Kind of interesting, but we went and saw Sweeney Todd on Broadway, which is like... The main reason we wanted to go because it was the main cast member's second to last show. His last show was going to be the next day, but it was just like we wanted to go at night and just fly in that night, then go to the show, which is what we did. And so it was Josh Groban, if y'all are familiar with him. He's a very famous like does opera and all that kind of stuff too. And this was like his dream was always to play Sweeney Todd on Broadway. And this is like Kayla's favorite human in the world, other than me, maybe more than me. So it was like our one chance to see him live his dream and do Broadway. So it's like, yeah, I know it's your crush. It's fine. I like it too. And it was a really good show, and it was like a blast to see. I wish we could have gone when we originally had wanted to go because they had another famous cast member that had to dip out earlier, but Gatton Monrazzo, I think is how you say his name, the guy that plays Dustin from Stranger Things, was actually had a role in it at the beginning when they first started showing it, but he didn't stay as long as Josh Groban did. But like the show was amazing and great, and we really enjoyed it a lot. And then that before we did that though, we also took a quick trip to the Nintendo store in New York. So like that was in walking distance of the hotel.
It's so cool in there.
It's really cool. There was a lot of people that was like, I'm not leaving here without getting something. So, of course, I had to get the very New York Pikachu dressed like the Statue of Liberty.
Beautiful.
Yeah, which if you look at it closely, the torch is a lit wick from Pokemon.
Oh, crap.
Aww.
And the stone tablet he holds is covered with unknowns.
Yeah. Oh, it's unknowns. You're right. Do they spell anything?
Fantastic.
I'm too lazy to... That looks like a UANYO. Oh, NY.
I bet it's I Love New York. Or I Heart New York.
It probably is. It probably is. That's funny. I didn't even realize that was NY. That's really funny. I'm bad at reading unknowns. I never got that good at it.
Me too. I have to look it
My
up.
first game was the gold Pokemon, and I still am not good with unknowns
So that was
at
the
all.
one that had unknowns.
Yeah, I'm still not good with.
And then you're also planning another vacation to see another goth musical pretty soon, aren't you?
Yeah, but before I finish up that, like the crazy thing about the whole trip was like we went at just the right time because we got back on that Sunday and were able to drive home. It started snowing on Sunday night in Nashville and my area. And the next day, they actually shut down the airport for several hours and did not allow any flights in or out. So if we would have stayed another day or something like that, who knows when we would have been able to go home.
Wow.
So just because
He'd still be in Manhattan to this day.
So like I feel very fortunate that we planned everything worked out just like exactly the way it needed to for us to have a good time. Neither one of us have much desire to go back to New York because honestly, that's not our vibe. It's way too
busy.
New York.
It's busy.
Funny thing is, I will go to New York on my birthday every year, and I have a specific schedule of things that I want to do, and I always do the same thing every year. I have a hot dog place that I go to for lunch every year.
Yeah.
It's Nintendo store. There's another video game store, I think on 5th, called Video Games New York. And right across from that is McSorley's. So the only reason that I go every year is just because A, it's right there. And B is I know exactly what I want to do and how to get there.
Let me recommend something to both of you because I got to experience it. And Nate, you especially, because I think you and your wife would have a good time, and it's away from the chaos. The museum, the National History Museum or whatever that's in New York is amazing.
Oh yeah,
that
I've
place
actually been
is
there. It's nice.
It's fucking huge. My dad's back started hurting him, so we didn't really get to explore. I bet I only saw a third of it, and we were in there for hours, dude.
Isn't MoMA in New York too? I'm sure there's.
I've been to that too. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's actually
wants to
right.
go to
Right
the
up.
Met.
That's actually right up
The
past
Met.
Yeah, damn.
Central Park. So
Yeah, I didn't get to go to those, but I'd love to.
yeah, no. If you
I'd love to check out
want to
Central
go to
Park,
the
too.
art museum, you do a nice little stroll through Central Park while you're doing it, and it's actually Central Park is the biggest mindfuck because you're literally seeing trees and greenery and beauty, and then it's just surrounded by massive skyscrapers.
Yeah, and when I was near Central Park, all I could smell was pot.
Oh yeah.
It's the only smell in the air.
I'll be honest. The weird nature surrounded by even when I was playing Spider-Man game, I really felt that about Central Park. You know, even in the video game, you got that vibe of it's such a strange oasis of nature in this concrete jungle.
Yeah.
But
It's bizarre, but it's also cool at the same time.
you were talking about stage shows, with Josh Groban being Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that what's the story of Jesus called? His birth.
The technical
his birth.
Never mind.
Oh jeez. His birth.
The
The
nativity.
nativity. Yeah. Did you know that Chad Kroger has starred in nativity scenes almost every year? I'm not.
I mean, I can kind of see.
How the hell did it
He
end
does
up
have a
like
Jesus
this?
to him.
He's played.
Look at this Murringle.
He's played Jesus. He's played some of the wise men. No, I take that back.
He cut it as a wise
I
man.
made it as a wise man.
Wait, did you just do that entire thing to set up that joke and I just ruined it for you?
No, you just hit the punchline for me. It's all good. But yeah.
God damn it.
Anyways, you're going to see another show, Nate.
This show sucks.
Dalton,
Yeah.
this is how you remind me of what I really am.
An asshole.
Yeah. It's not like
I'm gonna
Dalton.
carve your name on the sides of a
It's
board.
not like Dalton to say sorry. Twice beaten on a different story. This time I'm mistaken.
For giving you a heart worth breaking. Sorry.
I've been down to the bottom of every bottle.
Hell yeah, boys! I love Limp Bizkit.
I changed my mind. I don't want to be on the show anymore.
Yeah. Dude, Creed is my favorite band. I mean, come on.
me and Michael are forming our own podcast now. Later, guys.
How many podcasts does this group need? Oh, man. But yeah, so next weekend, this coming up weekend actually, I'm going to Cincinnati to see the musical production of Beetlejuice.
Oh, fuck
Nice.
yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that'll be what I talk about mostly on my episode next week. Also, I'm not going to talk too much about this one now because it's probably not going to happen for a month or so, but I am planning on getting another pet. I'm not going to say what it is. If you want to take a guess on what it is in the Discord, go for it, but I'm not going to get into it now.
Word up. Dude, I look forward to hearing about Cincinnati. I've never been there.
Yeah, Cincinnati's great. I love Cincinnati. Like, I'm happy to go to Cincinnati.
Cincinnati's neat too because it's a city that's a very similar size to like Nashville and Louisville, so it's like a very comfortable size city for us.
Yeah.
It's not a bustling metropolis, just towering
Right.
fucking every... So, I remember I used to listen to the Taz show. This is just the last thing about New York, and we can move on, I promise. But, like, he used to tell people, like, hey, if you're coming here to New York, you've never been here before, don't walk around looking up. He goes, nobody who lives in New York gives a fuck about how tall the buildings are. They just walk around there looking at the ground. They're just looking where they're going. He goes, if people see you looking up, they'll know you're a mark, and they'll try to steal your wallet.
Oh, dude, speaking of just shit in New York that kind of was like a little bit scary for me, because like there's a picture of me, like 'cause there was like a Minnie and Mickey Mouse in Times Square while we were walking through it, and if you see this picture of me stay there, I'm making this weird face at the camera because like Kayla's taking this picture behind their back, and she was like, you know, if they see you take this picture, we are getting shaken down for money. I'm about to get my ass kicked by Minnie Mouse if they see you do this.
She's Minnie Mouse, not Miss Piggy. She's not going to do that much damage.
Dude, I don't know, dude. I'm scared of the mascots in Times Square because there's so many stories about them.
Minnie Mouse is exactly the character I would expect to roll a nat 20.
That is true, actually.
I would love to see them do like... No, it would never be feasible because the people of New York would probably be like, get the fuck out of here. I'm trying to get to fucking work. But like doing like a Monday Night Raw live from Times Square and just have the ring right dead center in the middle of Times Square.
Huh. I mean, they did the first Nitro was in like the middle of the Mall of America, and although people didn't understand it, it was still a neat spectacle.
Yeah, it did look cool.
Like, I kind of like that kind of
Fucking
shit.
Luger comes out and
They
he
can
stands
do
there,
it.
obviously doesn't know what the fuck to do with his hands.
I mean, I'm dating myself,
But I mean,
like,
it had that.
didn't like David Letterman
Well, no one else
just
wants to.
randomly like send people out to like ask stupid questions?
Oh shit! Yeah, that was the Times Square.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's continued through a bunch
a
of different
classic.
late night shows these days do that.
I actually saw Letterman like a year before he retired. I always wanted to see him, and when I heard that he was going to be retiring, like after a year, he was going to do another year of shows, I finally like bit the bullet and applied for tickets, and luckily got them, and just took a day trip to New York and saw a Letterman show. It was phenomenal.
That is awesome. I would love to go to a TV taping of like a really popular show like that. Like even freaking like not Wheel of Fortune. What's the Price is Right that Drew Carey is on? The Price
That
is
is
Right.
Price is Right.
Wow, that sentence was really messed up.
I love Drew Carey.
Yeah, I would love to go to like. Yeah, Drew Carey's really good. Like Bob Barker seemed like an irreplaceable host, and I'm glad that Drew Carey has the just juice to be able to stand in that spot where he once stood. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Jerry Springer was also based out of Stamford, same city that WWE is based out of. And we
Yeah.
actually saw Jerry Springer, and that was interesting.
Oh, full circle moment. Jerry Springer was once the mayor of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
True.
He got caught in some kind of scandal, didn't he?
I don't remember. There's
I think he got caught with a hooker.
That's not that big a scandal.
I know, it's really not that bad, but like he still got in trouble for it. It's like, you're not Bill Clinton, dog. Just let it go. Like, he's okay. Like, if the mayor's banging a hooker, like, everybody can look sideways at that. It's fine. It is
Bill
what it
Clinton
is.
got away with it, too.
Because he did not inhale. Nor did he have sexual relations with that woman. Anyways, Willie, what about you, dog? What are you up to? How you been?
Man, my ankle's been bothering me a lot lately, but I've been putting ice on it over the last couple of days, and that's been really good. So that's helped a ton. I wish the human skeleton didn't sometimes decide to put crystals in its joints. That is a bad decision.
Mood. Yeah.
Agree.
Intelligent design, baby.
Oh, my wrist is like your ankle. Like, it's bad, especially with the
Yeah,
way everything's been like freezing cold lately.
Oh yeah, it cold sucks a fuck, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I first got into this game, and now I've got Nate in of it as of yesterday. Been starting to play the game Deep Rock Galactic.
My dad
which is
likes that
a
game.
fun cooperative. What's that?
My dad likes that game.
I think you would like it as well. It's a fun, like, cooperative first-person shooter. It's objective-based. You kind of, like, you're dwarves in, like, kind of a near-future type setting, and you go into these caves and you dig stuff up and bring it back to, basically, home base. It's a ton of fun. There's, like, 4 different character classes, all of which have unique movement options and weapons, and, I don't know, it just really whips ass. Like, I saw someone stream it, and I had a friend who played it, and then he bought it for me. Shout out to Blitzy. And then I just loved it so much. I'm like, I got to get Nate to play this game. And he didn't want to play it because the way I described it, I think he thought it was going to be more like a Team Fortress 2 style hero class-based shooter game. And then we actually played it together. He's like, yeah.
No, isn't it like just Sea of Thieves underground?
Well, but there's not like there's no PvP.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, because that's one thing I wasn't
like,
wanting. I didn't want to play another PvP game. I'm tired of playing with strangers on video games online. I haven't wanted to play like Rocket League at all lately. So it's just been one of those things where it's like, oh, this is just like co-op, no other people.
Yeah.
This is cool.
Yeah, you're just shooting at AI-generated bugs. Very Starship Troopers-y. To the point where even, like, I think at one point Nate's character killed a monster and goes, I'm doing my part!
So what else been up to, man? Or is that it?
Man, that's about all I got. That was it. Just, Deep Rock Galactic is pretty cool. It might be something I put on the list for the podcast at some point, because it's a fun game.
Word up.
It would be it's a 4-player max game too, I think, so it would be fun to find a guest for it. So I'm just going to hand that line out now if anyone is interested in trying to be the Deep Rock Galactic 4th player.
Okay. I'm down, man. So I guess that just leaves me. What have I been up to?
No one cares. Let's talk about Nexomon.
I played and beat the first Nexomon.
You did do that, actually. I'm surprised you wanted to get right back into it so
It was really good. It was really good. Other things that's happened since the last time we recorded, I got myself a puppy. She's asleep back here. I named her.
It's adorable little pupper, too.
Yeah, she's a cutie.
You say she's a Australian Shepherd?
She's a little Aussie. Her name is Lilith. I liked that name when I was playing Diablo 4. So I was like, hey, it'll work. Let's see, what else? I've been playing another game that's been real fun that I'm sure we'll end up talking about at some point. And then I've been messing around with older games and like on my GOG account, because I've got to the point I've got like most of, if not not all of it, I got most of my GOG games installed on one of my drives that has a lot of space on it, because those games don't need to be on the SSD. You know what I mean?
Ooh. Is this the first episode we've done since the Steamies?
Yeah.
Just wanted to go ahead and say, I talked to the Steamies about Adventure Island being a game I've never beaten before, and I did went ahead and beat it like 10 hours after we recorded that episode.
Hell yeah. And you got the retro achievement stuff for it, right?
Hell yeah.
Attaboy.
I think I went ahead and mastered it on Retro Achievements too, so it's my first mastered game on Retro Achievements. Not just beaten, but every achievement got.
Attaboy. But yeah, like, so I think I'm going to start throwing more of the older GOG games at us. Just for not necessarily, again, like not being like, hey, let's beat Might and Magic 1, but like to the point of like, hey, let's play a little bit of Might and Magic 1, 2, and 3 or something like that, and then be like, just talk about from a historical perspective. I think those could be some fun episodes where it's like trying to put yourselves back in 19 whatever the fuck when those games came out. You know what I mean? Plus, I hear people say that Heroes of Might and Magic games are fun.
I've heard good things about Hom.
So I don't know, but there's like a lot of like old little Diablo clones that I have, like Sacred and Nox, that I think would be fun to get into at some point.
I actually have Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri on GOG because it's literally the only way to play it, because GOG was the only company out there that made it compatible with modern computers.
I've heard Alpha Centauri is great. I don't know if I have that one.
That's phenomenal.
Is that like the space-based sequel to Civilization 3?
It's not necessarily a sequel. I would more call it a spin-off. It's made by the same people. But, yeah, it's Civilization in space.
Okay.
Like
I'm down with that. I'll have to pick that up if I see it on sale.
I'm pretty sure it's single digits, like, not on sale. It's such an old game. We're talking, like, Windows 95.
And I know that they're not going to like this if they ever listen to this, but I doubt they will. But the like with all these GOG games, like, y'all don't have to worry about buying them. I can just pop them over to you because of the offline installers. But, like, you know, there's even some, like, point-and-click games that I have that I really would like to check. Like Siberia. I know you guys have heard me talk about Siberia. Like, I have a lot of interest in those. And all of the Benoit Sokol games, really. The Black Mirror series, the Dracula series. Like, there's a bunch that I would love to check. Edna and Harvey.
I remember if we ever decide that we're going to play Alpha Centauri, maybe just, like, off-stream, whatever, the way that you play that game with other people, you can either log on at the same time and play, or you can take your turn, email the file to the next person's turn, and then they download the file, they open up their copy of Alpha Centauri, they take their turn, and then email the file to the next person. A game could take months.
Yeah, that used to be a pretty popular way of playing the games, was to play by email. I remember there was a game called Stars that I used to play a little bit that had a play by email community too.
And the funny thing about that is, like, you get one person who's just a little bit too busy, and you just have the whole rest of the player base on them to take your turn.
Also, I looked up Alpha Centauri on GOG, and it is $6 with the expansion pack.
Worth it.
Oh, that's not bad. Yeah, that's one thing about GOG with all those really older games is, like, they're not that expensive, even when they're not on sale. Some of them are. Like the silver box classic collections. But yeah, shout out to the GOG. They rule. It used to be. I don't know if it still is, but Ultima 4 used to just be free on GOG. You could just get Ultima 4.
Nice.
So yeah, I don't know. Just thoughts that I've been having about that. But yeah. Oh, I also picked up before Christmas, or excuse me, it was around Christmas, the Wing Commander games, which is like a series that I picked up because I saw that they were on sale, and I remembered, I'm like, you know, I feel like there was a Tadpog episode where they just, like, raved about how much they loved the Wing Commander series. Ian and John, I believe it was. So I was like, you know what? I'll pick that up. And I feel like I'm going to end up, like, playing Wing Commander, and then, like, over on my other screen, I'm going to put on, like, the Next Generation and just go full Space Nerd.
You're just really trying to find space games that are better than Starfield, aren't you?
Anything.
It's pretty easy to. We could play Free Space 2 at some point. Do report back if you play Wing Commander, though, because, like, I mean, the FMV stuff in that game, and, like, I don't know, like, it seemed like it was a really interesting, like, we wouldn't have probably TIE Fighter and Free Space and all that if it weren't for Wing Commander, so I respect the game even if we've never played it.
Yeah.
We still got to get together and play No Man's Sky.
Hell, yes, we do.
I agree. I think that would be fun. But yeah, that's about it. I've been working. Yesterday I took a floating holiday. Oh yeah, it was my birthday. This last Sunday, I turned 32.
Happy birthday!
So,
youngin.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the youngest one here.
Youngest boy on the show.
I am the youngest one. But yeah, I didn't take my birthday off, so I worked on my birthday. But I was like, all right, I'm off Wednesday and Thursday, so I'll take Tuesday as a floating holiday and have a 3-day weekend, but get paid for one of the days. So that's what I did. So I'm in the midst of enjoying that, and it's nice, man. It's just like, oh, I can just break, relax. It's nice. But yeah, that's about it for me. Let's move on to our game of the week. And
speaking of birthdays, my birthday is in 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Oh, I didn't realize our birthdays were that close, dude. Hell yeah. Air 5.
Yeah, dude, we're both Early Aquarius.
Yeah.
Or wait, are you like the end of Capricorn? Or are you
No,
early
I'm Aquarius.
You're a cusper. Okay, gotcha.
I am Aquarius.
I'm just off the cusp, but I'm still quite early Aquarius.
Ah, happy birthday,
The
Willie.
cusp.
Yep. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Happy birthday, Mikolov.
Thank you.
It is your birthday in
Happy
Australia. where
birthday
Adam's
to
at.
Don't
all
even work
of you.
about it.
And to all a good night. So
Nope, good show. Later.
the obligatory Wikipedia bullshit's going to be a little hard this week because there really isn't one. There is no page on Wikipedia for Nexomon Extinction, which is the game that we played, but there is a Nexomon wiki, and this is what it has to say. Nexomon Extinction is the sequel to Nexomon, released for PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and Steam on August 28th, 2020. It is available on Xbox as well as mobile. Extinction features a brand new story and over 380 new Nexomon to collect. It also features a slightly different world than the original Nexomon. And as far as the plot, it says, probably some spoiler about the plot goes here. And that is it. That's all this page
This
has.
wiki is very unfinished.
Yeah. Someone was like, I'll get to this later, and then never did. But it was developed and published by Viwo Interactive Inc. and P-Cube, published by P-Cube. Which I think we've played some
The
games by
Cube.
P-Cube before.
Oh, maybe. I'll have to look that up real quick.
While you're doing that, let's talk about some first impressions. Now, I picked this game because I had played through the first Nexomon and really enjoyed it and was like, I like this enough that I want to play the next game. I would like you guys to play the next game because I knew that Extinction was like quality of life better. And I was like, I'm not going to throw the first game at them when I just beat it, and then I'm not going to play through it again, and then I'd have been bored for 2 weeks. So it's like, nah, man, let's just play Extinction. So, Mikolov, you decided to join in, and you're the guest, so I'll go with you. What was your first impression loading up Nexomon?
So, if I remember correctly, I was like in the Discord, oh, you guys are playing Nexomon. And you were like, yeah, man, want to join? I'm like, you know what? Yes. And
I do believe that's how it went down.
And I'm actually, I'm thrilled that you thought of me because I've been a Pokemon fan for a very, very, very long time, to the point where I still play and get disappointed by those games on the regular basis. And so I really didn't have high expectations of Nexomon. So at first, I actually was like, you know what? I don't know that I want to spend actual money on this. And so what I ended up doing was I ended up yo-ho-hoing the Switch version, and I played that on my Odin 2, which is an Android-based handheld with like a really powerful Snapdragon processor in it. And I ended up playing most of Nexomon on that, and it was actually a very nice, smooth experience. It ran very well on that device. But I ultimately decided that this game was so good that I wanted to support the developers, and I did end up buying a Steam copy. To the point where I also have a Nexomon and Nexomon Extinction 2-pack for Switch in my Amazon cart because I very much may want this physical. So, first impressions, I was impressed.
I didn't realize there was a physical.
Oh, it's sitting in my cart, and it's backlog golf is the only thing keeping me from actually buying it. But I wonder if Adam will let me slide if I buy it and just never open it and keep it as a collector's item, because these physical games are going to go the way of the dinosaur before you know it.
I think if you beat Extinction, you can take a 0 on Nexomon.
I mean, I'm okay with that, but I did take the +1 because I actually bought it on Steam.
Oh.
So
I feel like that it would be the same +1, though.
well,
right?
no, because it's a 2-pack. I'd be getting the original Nexomon too.
We'll have to go to Adam for the.
We'll have to go to
reference.
Adam for the
judgment.
referee on that, but I may take the hit just for collector's purposes. Plus, I kind of want to play the original now. But this is very much old Pokemon. And while the game isn't perfect, there were a lot of moments in this game where I said out loud to anybody who would listen, Game Freak needs to take this game, play it, data mine it, take freaking notes.
I can agree with that.
So that's I mean, I think that's a little bit more deeper than a first impression, but the game is impressive for what it is and what it's trying to pay homage to. It's darn good at what it does. And there are some implementations of monster catching that really should be in Pokemon. For example, I don't know if you want me to get into this now or later, but one of the game mechanics is being able to equip cores. And early on in the game, you get some cores. These are basically like gems made from ores that you collect during the course of the game. And you could put an attack core, or you could put a defense core. You could put an experience up core.
Cores are kind of like a combination of like held items and things like EXP share, basically. You get 4 of them per Nexomon. I kind of likened them to like equipment in an RPG. Like you would craft equipment, or you would go to a store and buy equipment, and then you would equip it to your characters in whatever RPG, insert RPG here. And you can take them off, you can put them on another character, you can sell them. Like, you could do like whatever you want with them. And the whole time that I'm like crafting cores and putting new cores on and creating these custom builds for my Nexomon, I was just thinking to myself, Game Freak, just get rid of Eevee and Ivy training and just have some kind of equip system. You want a monster to focus on attack? Equip multiple attack things. Like, they would get such a bigger player base if they get rid of a lot of those redundancies. And so I just feel like there's so much in this game that other monster hunting, or not monster hunting, that's a different genre, monster catching games could really benefit from. And you can tell that the developers really share a passion for this genre, because they didn't try to make something graphically AAA. They just tried to take an existing type of game that existed on older hardware and just pretty it up for PC and touch up some of the mechanics and the quality of life and make it fun. And I felt like playing the original Pokemon Blue, playing this game. Like, everything was a surprise. I didn't know any of the monsters. I had to learn the mechanics. I had to learn the towns. I had to learn the characters. And honestly, I felt like a kid again, and it was nice. Those are really good first impressions, actually.
That wasn't a first impression. That was a full review. I know. I was like, so what are you rating it?
I mean, I'll go into some of the other stuff later, but that was just... I'm just in awe by how impressed I was.
There's a lot of really good stuff you brought up, though. I feel like we need to touch on some of those things later, too. But there was a lot of really good stuff in there. All right, Dalton, who's up next?
Oh, I was going to go...
Dalton, why are you just making
I'm laughing. I'm going to go counterclockwise this time. So, Willie, what about you, bud?
Okay, so what I knew about Nexomon from Dalton sending screenshots of the first screenshots of the first game was it definitely was a game with a fourth wall breaking sense of humor. And so I got into the game playing it like, okay, this is going to be funny but kind of trivial Pokemon clone. I started playing it. It felt like early gen Pokemon. You know, there's only 9 monsters. I felt like when I saw the starter choice, I was actually really surprised that you could get a starter from any of the 9 elements in the game. There's only 9 elements, not 16 or 21 or however there are today in Pokemon. But you could pick one of any of them. And I'm looking at them like, some of these just don't sing to me at all. A lot of these are kind of boring, kind of weird, kind of lame. And I was like, early on in the game, like, a lot of these just feel like filler Fakemon from, like, a bad Pokemon ROM hack. Like, a lot of them aren't jumping out to me. Then I saw Poyle, which is a little pug dog in a sailor suit standing up. And I'm like, oh, I fucking love this guy. And soon enough, I found enough Nexomon that I really liked. And I was like, actually, when the design hits in this game, it hits pretty hard. Like, a lot of them are kind of generic. Like, it's not as good on average as the Mon design in Pokemon. But damn, when they get going, they get some really good Mons in there. And I also was very surprised that, like, at first the music kind of came off as, like, a pretty good RPG Maker generic music type thing. And then the further I got, I'm like, shit, this song's stuck in my head. This song's stuck in my head. The Capital City song got stuck in my head. The level up / victory music got stuck in my head. And I'm like, this game has some sick music. So, like, it was a lot more polished than I expected. I really was expecting it to just be like, you know, knockoff Pokemon. And to some extent it is, but it's not just knockoff Pokemon, and it really made me happy early on.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. What's you, Nate?
Yes, I fully went into this game expecting to not play too much of it. I think I even DM'd chat. I was like, oh yeah, don't expect me to beat this one. I'm just going to play it and get the idea of what the game's like. I don't plan on beating this at all. So I kind of went in, and it honestly kind of started how I thought a game like this would start. It was kind of a very slow build up into anything. If I'm being perfectly honest, it takes a really long time. You're a kid in an orphanage, and you do some stuff around the orphanage, and they tell you, it's your time to go get your first monster. So you go out and start looking for Nexomon. And I was like, okay, it's going to be this kind of game, kind of just like a starting out, you're a new trainer, and you're going to be the trainer that ends up beating the Elite Four at the end of this game kind of thing. And for a lot of the very beginning of the game, and we're talking first impressions here, it felt exactly like that. Just going to be like a small little Pokemon clone. Exactly. It does deviate from that once you get into it, but like for first impressions wise, it feels just like a very early Pokemon game doing very early Pokemon stuff. I did think that it was kind of more exciting in ways, because one of the first things that happens to you is like you get attacked by this dragon, and some mysterious ghost figure's like, here, take one of these monsters, they're going to be your starter or whatever. And so I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And so like I did enjoy the fact that you got to pick one from any type in the game. Yeah. I took the little lightning lizard guy because he was really cute.
Do you want to do a starter roundup?
Yeah, what did everybody take? I did the lightning lizard.
Fire kitty.
I took
I think me and Dalton both went with the same thing, which was Mosquito, which is it's a psychic type cat wearing a mask, basically. Bipedal cat.
Yeah. It's a it's like a Meowth with a geisha mask.
Isn't the mask his face?
That's about right.
Like, doesn't he take off the mask and he has no face?
Yeah, the second evolution looks like that. I was really upset by that. When I saw Mascot, it really upset me.
Yeah, and so I guess for my first impression, it was like, yeah, I'm just the first person. Like, I'm probably still not going to beat this game, but at least it's doing some pretty interesting stuff, and I like it. So I was just like, yeah, this is a pretty cute little game. Let's see what else happens and see how it keeps going and see if it can drag me in. But my first impressions were very much, yeah, just cute little Pokemon-like game.
Did anyone else struggle to level up at the very beginning?
I think it is harder in the beginning than later in the game, but I'd like to hear Dalton's first impressions before we start really getting into game talk.
The two things that jumped out to me that made me stick with or really made me be like, all right, I'm gonna stop this and I'm gonna go back and play the first game, was the catching mechanic. Was one of the first things that jumped out to me. Was the it's a little different than Pokemon, and we can get into more details later, but that and Coco.
Oh, Coco.
So
God bless Coco.
Coco was absolutely hilarious. It's like he's like your little sidekick that goes on the adventure with you. He's a talking cat, and he is the main fourth wall breaker. He takes the place of, in the first game, you had a little sidekick with you by the name of Atlas, who was a little robot guy. And he was also the fourth wall breaker. And they basically talk for you because you're a mute, which is commented on throughout the game, that you don't ever say anything.
Yeah, they literally say you're a mute. And at one point, they're like, Willie doesn't even blink and you're a talking cat. You'll be fine.
It's like, you're sending us on this mission. We're children. And he's like, yeah, he doesn't blink and you're a talking cat. You'll be all right. Yeah, so like just it was cute. I loved the Mons. I'm a big monster catching game fan. And like I kind of talked about earlier, going through and playing the very first game was just like, man, this is so good. I want to dive into the second one. And we did. So now let's get into mechanics and things like that. So you were talking about having trouble leveling up.
I just remember starting off and having the level up experience be extremely slow. I think at one point I posted in the group, how do you level in this game? Because
yeah, I remember you thinking it was going to be really
grindy.
I
did, and then later on, like even as late as tonight, I found it's actually very easy to skip levels or to level up within like a couple of minutes. Because I'm pretty sure, like in the later game, I went from like 38 to 45, I want to say in a matter of 20 minutes for all 6 mons that I was using. And some of that was just catching a new version of the same mon you already have, because you end up running into the same mon, but it's got a much higher level than what you already have in your party. So it's just a matter of, oh, well, I don't have to grind the one I have. I'll just pop this one. And go ahead.
And I love that basically, like you were talking about how this game doesn't have IV, EV training. You don't have to really nerdily raise a character from level 7 or whatever. It's like you'll have the stats, and if you could just put the right cores on them, like you can catch a new mon, and they'll be pretty much competitive immediately.
Right.
I really appreciated that, because like in Pokemon, I never catch an evolved Pokemon. Never. Ever. I always want to evolve them from the first phase. In this game, I never felt bad about catching an evolved first or even second evolution of an Nexomon.
Right, because in the code, they're the same. And that's not like that in Pokemon. Pokemon has like natures and IV spreads and all that, and it gets extra complicated because now you're spending all this extra time hunting what you want or trying to manipulate the stats to be what you want, whereas this game, now granted, is a single-player only game, so really your only goal is to get to the end and finish the database if you want to. But that, like you said, is a breath of fresh air, because now you don't have to worry about being all extra grindy. You just need to keep up with the NPCs. You don't have to keep up with other players or form a competitive build. You just play how you want. Which is nice, too, because now you're not chained down to specific mons that are powerful. You could just play with what your favorites are.
Yeah, there's no worrying about the meta. As long as you have a few really strong mons, you can also have a couple of guys that kind of suck, but that you like.
And my answer to leveling up, by the way, is fighting trainers.
Yeah, I was going to say, you definitely need to go do
way
trainer
more
battles
experience out of that, and you can rebattle them anytime. Well, not anytime you want, but I think you have to move certain screens away from them, but they respawn. You can go back and fight them again.
Plus, you get Buku Cash, which you can use to buy more items that you're going to want.
Which you use a lot.
I noticed that you guys seem to have more trouble. I had so much cash by the end of that game that I didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, so did I, actually.
I think
But mainly because I grinded by fighting trainers.
I think my problem was trying to speedrun my way through the game, because I wanted to beat it before the show, so I didn't level as much and I skipped trainers, so that meant I ended up using a lot more healing items to get through story battles, and I was also under-leveled and under-cached, so it kind of created a natural difficulty for myself that I had to kind of go back and get myself out of.
Well,
yeah, we saw you fighting a boss that was a callback to the first game, I think, and holy shit, you definitely were like, all your guys were 5 to 10 levels underneath what they should have been to fight him, and you only had like second tier healing items, and I was like, oh, this is gonna go so bad.
You were on the edge of your seat watching that battle too.
You clutched that shit out, though. It was impressive.
Let me say this. If you're planning on playing the first Nexomon, if you thought this game was hard, prepare yourself, because the first Nexomon is way harder. You get hit so fucking hard by enemies. All of them.
Oof. That's even if you level?
So do you guys want to talk about...
Oh yeah, even if you're leveled up. I mean, it's not as bad when there's level discrepancies, but like when you're fighting stuff that's your level, they're gonna smack the shit out of you. You also smack the shit out of them, but it's not as balanced as this one. This game's a lot more balanced.
Well, even in this one, I feel like most even fights were over in 2 to 3 hits. But you guys want to talk about like the mechanical differences between this game and early Pokemon? Because I feel like that's definitely something that would be an interesting topic here.
I would say level scaling is probably one of the more important things for us to talk about.
Absolutely. That's definitely one of the main ones I was thinking of. So in this game, it seems like the enemies level up with your party's average level and also with your progress in the story. So, I think it's like not flat either. I think it's like a combination of the two. So at some point you can be a little above the level of the enemies, but if you do a couple more story events, all of a sudden you're under leveled again. So you kind of have to match up with that, you know what I mean?
And it's a good maybe 25 hour story, so that's probably the developer's way of kind of padding it out and getting you to play longer, because you actually have to physically catch yourself and go back and level up a little bit before you can progress the story. Or maybe that's a way like you go and you level up, and that might be like how you discover new mons and how you kind of get into the exploration aspect of the game a little bit. I also have to say that...
But like...
Oh, sorry. No, I was just going to say, you also don't really have much of the game gated to you. Like, there are a few spots on the map that they're like, no, you can't go there yet. You're only like a bronze tamer. But I stumbled onto the Drake Isles, like, very early in the game. And that was somewhere I was not supposed to be. But because I went there, I was able to get so far into the Isles to where I can catch Mons. But they touted that place as like, this is where you get dragons. And so most of my party is from there because I wanted dragons. And it didn't stop me from doing that early on. And that was nice. Like in Pokemon, I would love it if in older Pokemon I can like get a Dratini at level 2 or 3 and not have it be like the middle or the end of the game. Like I would love to be able to journey out and get that early and then go back and go through the story.
I really thought that was a huge thing about this game that I really loved, is you could basically explore most of the world, and once you get to a certain point in the game, have fast travel points from those areas back to where you've been. But like, it doesn't gate a lot of it behind the story. It's not like Pokemon Red and Blue, where it's like, you can't leave here until you get this badge, you know? It was a lot more like, hey, if you want to go see Palmyra, or if you want to go see the Drake Isles, or if you want to go see Lateria, you can go there. You can just walk there as long as you're bad enough to deal with the fights on the way.
Yeah, like, one of the most important things to me was, like, I saw this Mon that I was fighting a trainer on.
I was just about to bring that up, yep.
And it was just like, oh my god, look at this little turtle. I have to have this immediately. And because this game is like this, and it's not like capped where like I need HM cut to get behind the tree so I can go to Route 4 to catch a Arbok or whatever, I was able to go to Palmyra, which is the only place that this little turtle dude existed, and go hunt Pokemon Nexomon there until I found one and have him in my party for the rest of the game. Like, so if you see something you like, you have that ability to just kind of go and make it happen for yourself, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it too.
Also, you
and if you believe this motherfucker didn't see a turtle with a sandcastle for a shell and immediately want to catch that, you do not know Nathan.
and Palmyra is open from the very beginning. Like, you can go there whenever, and there are a lot of mega rares that you can catch there. They're fucking all over the place. So that's one of my favorite places to go and just look for Mon, because almost all of the Nexomon spawn there.
And it's...
So there's a rarity system in this game too, where it's common, uncommon, rare, I think there's something in between this, but then Mega Rare, Ultra Rare, and then Legendary. And Ultra Rare is the 9 starter mons, and then Legendary is bigger than that, but not as big as... Legendary is bigger, and then Mega Rare is kind of like the top non-starter tier.
Yeah, Legendary, I believe, is the top tier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even when you start...
Which I got none of, by the way.
Really?
Really.
Did you beat the...
I won the game with two Mega Rares, 2 Ultra Rares, 1 common, and 1 uncommon.
Oh, okay, so you ran into them, you just didn't catch them.
No, I never ran into a place where I could capture a Legendary.
Wow, okay. I thought it was a scripted event, so... Okay.
I found 2. I'm using 1.
Yeah, you just picked up
Titan.
Yeah.
I think?
Which
Yeah, you got the
basically
same
looks
2
like
that I
a
did.
genie
Big-
with a big old mustache.
So I'll start with Nate with this question. Did you have a favorite character?
Favorite character. So I think I did, because she's one of the early characters you kind of run into. It's almost like a nemesis type character. She's the trainer of the water type tyrant. Water type tyrant, Nivalis. And she's just this spunky ice queen kind of lady, and she just had a lot of personality, and I really enjoyed every interaction with that character a lot.
Atlanta, she was dope as hell. I think she was the first renegade you ran into, and I really liked her a lot.
So, quick sidebar. She reminded me a lot of the character that you meet in Extinction, the chick who was holding the surfboard, one of the Omnicron's children. In the first game, when you first meet her, she just challenges. She's supposed to be the best volleyball player ever. So you challenge her to a game of volleyball in front of her, like, guys that worship the ground she walks on. And you play this little volleyball mini game, and if you beat her, I mean, that's how you progress, as you beat her. You blow her cover because she's really not that good at volleyball, and she gets super pissed off at you and then transforms, and you have to fight her. But
this scene is referenced in this game. I didn't know what they were talking about, so that's awesome.
yeah. He's like, you want us to beat you at volleyball again? Yeah, the attitude though with her is almost the same. It's almost the same as the chick that runs Nivalis, where she's just like a hothead and doesn't want to listen to your shit.
There's a
she
lot
was
of
a
that in
ton
this
of
game.
fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked her a lot. She was a really fun character, and I just felt like that was a good first introduction to what's going to be like a main plot point in the game, is that character that's the renegade with the tyrant, because you're going to run into more of those, and I think she was a really good first representation of that in the game.
Yeah,
it's a really good pick, Nate. That's very accurate. Like, the writing in this game is so much smarter than I expected, and that was definitely the first sign of it.
What about you, Will? Do you have a favorite character?
I actually really liked Dina, the person that first shows up to save you from the dragon at the start of the game. Like, I felt like her character was just super interesting. I didn't know where it was going, and it surprised me a lot. Like, a lot of the story did. Like, obviously, she's like crazy powerful and has a secret, and you don't know what that secret is. And when you find out more, it's really awesome.
Yeah, Dina's a great character, dude. Great character. What about you, Mikolov?
I'm going to take the easy route. I'm going to go Coco.
Yeah.
Coco is a great character.
Yeah.
Like,
being both your mouthpiece and the guy that does basically all the jokes.
Oh, everything. Like,
I have a screenshot of... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say literally everything. Facial expressions, just the snarkiness, the fact that Coco is the character that will make fun of the development of a monster-catching genre game, throws digs at Pokemon, throws digs at itself, and just... I love the snarkiness, and I love the fact that they chose a cat to be the snarky, sarcastic character.
Oh, yeah. And it's so fitting, right?
Oh, yeah.
I have a screenshot of his first joke that he makes, and it's he makes some comment about the quest the chick's going to send you on, and she's like, no, you just have to go and you take this item to this person. It'll be fine. It'll be fun or whatever. And he just puts his hand on his forehead and goes, all right, you clearly have never played an RPG before. And it's just tremendous.
Yeah, one of my favorite lines, actually there's a couple of them, but one I could think of off the top of my head right now, is there's a city where the people are just idiots. And...
that's a very late game spoiler, Town.
Good point. But they say, one of the characters says something, and Coco's like, wait, what? And then that's it.
Yeah.
Like, nobody caught what he said except for Coco.
God bless Coco.
I try to keep that as spoiler-free as possible.
You did a good job. You got through that
okay,
one very
cool.
well.
Trying to find a screenshot of the chick that is my favorite character because I cannot remember her name.
Amelie? I cook an egg with the spoon.
But she is the
Nathan's cracking up. He knows what I'm doing.
Amelie is a really good character, though. I think that Amelie was extremely well written as well.
I fully agree.
You were doing Fit Girl. The chick that Fit Girl uses as the icon, right? Amelie?
That is that Amelie, but I was doing a reference to the podcast My Brother and Me, which did a bit about that movie.
I've never seen the movie, but I know the name because of Fit Girl.
That is the Amelie I was referring to, though. So good work.
I think my favorite character, other than Coco, because Coco is legend, was the crazy dragon girl with the Cyclops visor on.
Oh, fucking Lydia.
Yes, she was
the renegade,
batshit insane, and I loved her. And the fact that her tyrant was just like, yeah, whatever.
Just a sleepy boy. He's just like chilling. Eurus is just hanging out.
Just want to take a nap, man. Also,
the Garfield of tyrants.
As far as like major characters in the game too, I thought Xander's was also extremely well written. Xander's is kind of like big badass guy that literally punched a dragon in the face to make it stop. Like,
Xander's is badass. Yeah.
It's a really cool character.
Xander's is all beef, no sizzle, and
it's
you gotta love
Chrono
that.
all grown up.
He does kind of have Chrono vibes. Oh shit!
There's a lot of cool characters in the game.
Yeah, I still kind of liked the miner that you meet really early on that ends up being a recurring.
She's hilarious.
Yeah, she's really funny. Because like at first she's kind of disrespecting you, but by the end, you're kind of forge a bond.
She still disrespects you. She's not very nice.
She does though. That's also really good. She doesn't have to like you. She just helps you.
So there's a scene with her because I'm looking at the screenshot. I took it to mention it on the podcast because goddamn, her name's Videl, by the way.
Videl, thank you.
And there was a thing where she's like, man, I wish I had my pickaxe. And Coco goes, you're holding your pickaxe.
You clearly are holding your pickaxe. I can see it.
She responds with, nah, I don't have it anymore. The developers just don't have the money to draw me without the pickaxe. And like, those are the types of fourth wall break jokes that are in this game that would just make me chuckle out loud just sitting here by myself. Fucking Lilith would look at me like I'm crazy.
Speaking of fourth wall breaks, one of my very favorites, and I'm kind of disappointed in you guys for not doing the same thing I did here, was a scene where you're trying to meet the lady at the in the like the haunted woods area for the first time, and she's like a fortune teller, right? And you have to guess like a number 1 through a billion to be able to go visit her. Obviously, a scripted event that whatever you typed in was going to be. I didn't know if it was going to be accepted or just rejected no matter what you typed in. So me and my brilliant wisdom, my number was 69, 420, 69. And I was so disappointed none of you guys had funnier numbers than that. So shame on you. I'm sorry.
I just typed in, I was like, 8675309.
Which is the second best one.
I left the number that was on the screen because I thought that was actually going to be a thing.
So did I. I'm like, you know what? They gave me a bunch of random numbers.
We're basic.
That's probably what I'm supposed to hit, so I'm not going to mess with it.
We're fucking elves, dude.
Yeah, but slight spoiler, whatever you put in, it accepts.
So, a little bit later on, you're talking to that same psychic, and Coco was like,
Eliza.
How do we know that you're not real? And for me, because I was playing the Nintendo Switch version for a little bit, she's like, "You're playing this game on a Nintendo Switch." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." And kind of funny.
Yeah, because for those of us who played it on the PC, the line was just, we are living in a video game.
So one of the scenes that referenced the first game that made me crack the fuck up was when you first meet Atlas, and he's kind of giving you a rundown on things that happened. And at the time, my character was the sprite from the first game, which you can equip in the start menu from this one. So it was kind of funny to be standing there talking to Atlas like I didn't know who he was. And he's kind of going through. He's like, "Yeah, we fought Omnicron, and Dina had this thing, and she didn't seem to, Dina didn't explain her plan to everyone, and we also beat up his kids. It was a weird game."
Yeah,
and I'm just like, yeah, it really was actually, but it was good.
Yeah, the thing about it, like the whole comedy aspect of this game, is I feel like I kind of expected what Willie kind of expected from when we played Borderlands, for just to be like the same kind of thing over and over and over again. But the way this game is written and paced is whenever it does do some of those big, like, fourth wall breaks or however it wants to make a comedic point, it executes it well and sticks the landing every time.
It's
for sure.
subtle.
For the most part. I do feel like there were a couple of jokes that repeated. Like, there are definitely, like, 3 different NPCs that are like, "Oh, you think because you're an RPG protagonist you can just break into my house?" And I'm like, okay, you've done this joke already, game.
But that joke, I think, also falls to the fact that, like, you're not going into every single house, and they want to make sure you saw that joke at least once.
Maybe, yeah.
I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
I have 2 specific jokes that jump out in my brain that just were probably the ones that made me laugh the hardest, like just sheer. When Willie, I know you brought one up, so I know you'll agree with me on the one. It's when the guy wants you to go catch him his first Nexomon. So then you go and you give him a Nexomon,
yes.
and he's like, "I'm going to go try it out." And he goes off into the wilderness, and he shows up, he's like, "Let's have a Nexomon trainer battle." And Coco says, "Aw, this is so nice seeing someone with their first Nexomon." And then his eyes just narrow, and the text is like all wobbly.
Let's destroy him.
Let's destroy him. It's just fucking tremendous. And then towards the end of the game, you're running through, and these guys spawn in, and he's like in this Power Ranger looking suit, and he's like, "You are my mortal enemy, and I am here to stop you." Insert spoiler here. And him and his 2 buddies come running at you, and they jump down this cliff like they're gonna hero land and everything, and they all just splat on the ground. And they're like, "Ugh. Oh, it hurts," and they teleport away. And it's like, that's it. You think you're about to have this big epic battle, and they just eat shit and die. No, they don't die, but they just eat shit and teleport. It is just, I applauded.
Oh, my bones.
So there's another moment a little bit later in the game, so I'm going to try and keep it spoiler free, where somebody tries to steal something from you, and they trip and fall. And one of the characters legit goes up and says, "Hey, are you okay?" And this character, like, gets up from, like, face planting and still manages to steal what they wanted to steal and runs off.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Dude. And do you guys want to talk about some spoilers so we can get that out of the way?
Well, what do we want to cover story-wise? 'Cause I feel like we've kind of given the basis of what the story kind of is at this point in the episode.
Well, kind of, but also kind of not, because we haven't actually mentioned one of the main premises of the game, which is, like, that this world is in ruins because of tyrants, which are these terrible, big, mega Nexomon that are basically fighting over the world, you know?
Yeah, and you're going around having to try to defeat them while working for the Nexomon Guild and working your way up and being a tamer. You become a bronze tamer, and then a silver tamer, then a gold tamer, and then eventually you become a guild master.
Grandmaster.
Oh, is it grandmaster? I thought it was Guildmaster. But yeah, you work your way up through the system as you go through the game and defeating the tyrants in the different areas. Like each area has the themed one. Like when you're in the ice one, you're going to fight the ice tyrant. In the fire area, you're going to fight the fire tyrant. Until you get to the Drake Isles, then that's got the dragons. Then you start learning about the dragons exist to keep the tyrants. They fight one another all the time. It's like they keep tyrants in check.
Yeah, so apparently tyrants didn't exist in the tyrants. Dragons didn't exist in the original Nexomon game. They're a recent thing that happened, and they hunt tyrants, which are the monsters that are fighting over the crown of the king of the monsters, basically. And they cause a lot of casualties while doing so. And they basically flatten like 90% of the world.
Can we talk about the setting while we're talking about kind of the exposition here? Because the setting kind of gave me the impression that this world is broken. Like, tyrants have just decimated the landscape to the point where, like, the ice section is basically like the ruins of a town, and you could see like the wires coming down off of the buildings, and you could see like property damage and houses with broken roofs and collapsed property, and the volcano area is basically like the reconstruction efforts of a city that was destroyed by a tyrant, so the people rebuilt inside the volcano that the tyrant created. And correct me if I'm wrong, Dalton, but I got the vibe that these locations were basically like destroyed, ruined versions of the first game.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no. To be honest with you, my brain is filled with Extinction now instead of the first game, so I don't remember.
Was there anything
but like
that
as you join the first game, or as you join this game, it's like the world has already been partially destroyed by the tyrants. Like the city of the frozen tundra has been lost basically to the Nexomon guild. New Ignitia, which is the volcano city you're talking about, is in danger, and like it's all going really badly to the point where there's like a rebel city in the desert who are just like out there just like, we're just gonna single-handedly go fuck up the tyrants ourselves because we do not trust the guild anymore.
And it's like what if the world of Pokemon was more realistic? Like if you actually have a lot of these giant fire-breathing monsters and shit around, like things are not going to go that great all the time, you know. And Nexomon's definitely more like, yeah, these things are fucking dangerous. These things are monsters.
Was there anything location-wise that, because you're the only one who played the first game, that just struck you as familiar, or I remember that place, or okay, that looks
Param.
Really?
The Param was a small town in the first game. It was kind of like your little starter town. And then 2,000 years later in this one, or however long it was, it's become a big fucking metropolis type city.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about, there's like a ruined city like slightly east of Param too that I was like wondering, was that like a town in the first game? Because there's like even like a mansion with a gate that's like destroyed and all that.
I believe it was, if I remember correctly. I just don't remember the name of it. And it wasn't that big back then, you know what I mean? It was like in the time it had become a bigger area.
It makes me more curious to play the first game, because I have a feeling now that I played the second one first that I'm going to hit some places in the first game and it's going to be like, oh, okay, that's what happened to that. Or that's what that was like before.
Yeah, a 2,000-year time skip is a really interesting way to do a sequel.
Right? It's a long time.
And I think it actually is smart based on the story as I know it, because like it gave this world a chance to develop and change under the complete influence of Nexomon that don't have a king, so that they could have this tyrant struggle. Like all the tyrants are basically struggling to become the next Nexomon king, so they're fighting each other, destroying people and all this kind of stuff, which is why there's this big conflict between them and why the dragons have been brought in to help stave off the tyrants and all this kind of stuff. So it was like a really interesting way, and like letting you know and building up to the fact that this has been a long time struggle that your main character is coming in to unawarely trying to fix the world's problems as they stand.
Meaning it's possible that Omicron actually was keeping the world together, and now that he's gone, there's just... I don't know that I want to call it post-apocalyptic, but it's definitely dystopian.
It's definitely... It's like mid-apocalyptic. Like, the end of the world is happening around you.
That's a good point.
Yeah, because I think there's a conversation that you have with the ghost that you end up finding out is the ghost of the main character from the first game, where he says that like he thought that they were doing a good thing, and it turns out that they were dooming the world.
And a lot of the villains of this game also have that same kind of ideology. Like, there's a cult of Omicron, basically, that wants to... Basically, they don't think any of the current tyrants are deserving followers. They think that he's a piece of shit. And, like, there's other characters that are trying to make sure this power vacuum isn't filled in a terrible way.
Right, and it's like all these major tyrants that you meet throughout the game, like the ones we talked about earlier that Atlanta was in charge of, and those were people kind of vying for that top spot. And I don't know if we even mentioned this, that at the very beginning, not very beginning, but close to the very beginning of the game, you get your own egg that's supposed to be a tyrant egg that you have to go around and try to hatch, because you are led to believe that this is going to be the tyrant of light, essentially, that can subdue all the other tyrants and put order to the world again through a tyrant.
And dude, it made me so happy that in order to get the spots on the eggs, to like the elements that you needed, that you had to go and fight Omicron's children. So it was like I got to see these characters that I just saw in the first Nexomon, and I was like, hey, what have you been up to the last 2,000 years? Suffering in this temple.
Yeah, and so you're basically trying to power up your egg through the powers of Omicron's children to hatch this tyrant of light, essentially.
But you also know that this is going to make you a renegade in the guild, because only the renegades can hatch and run a tyrant, except for Lydia, who is allowed to have her tyrant of wind, Eurus, and she's cool with the guild. Like, there's a lot of intrigue very early on, like what's happening here.
I think we've done a good job summarizing the plot of the game.
Yeah. So
before we move to spoiler territory, which I know is something you kind of want to dive into soon, Dalton, one thing I wanted to ask was, like, did you guys grow attached to any of your monsters? I know Willie's kind of mentioned his little sailor pug, and we all kind of have our little teams that we've kept. What are some of the standout monsters that you guys really enjoyed?
So I really like Falsifont, who I lovingly call Doofer.
Yeah.
That's a mon from the first game too.
No.
Right?
No. So there are mons from the first game in Nexomon Extinction, but you have to equip that core, not a core, but there's like a thing in your items that you have to equip, and then they show up, and they're like ultra rare, and you can't evolve them. But they are mons from the first game, but there's only like a handful of them. No, Falsifont is new to Nexomon Extinction, and his final evolved form, he's just a big elephant with like a 2 gun arm things. Like, he looks like Barrett, but a giant elephant, and he's super badass. I also liked Masquidi. Like, I kept Masquidi in my party the entire game. And Felissa Blanco. No, Fele Blanco.
Feli Blanco was the final form.
But there was another dragon. I don't remember the name of it. It's the little black dragon. But when I looked at him, I was like, he looks like Littlefoot. So I named him Littlefoot. He ended up evolving into something that looked nothing like Littlefoot, but it stuck. But no, man, I was all about trying to get like the highest rarity in my party.
See, the funny thing about my party is like
all legendaries.
I'll say the funny thing about my party is like I didn't plan to theme it But then it started theming itself, and I just kind of ran with it. So one of the first mons that I caught out, the first mon I picked was, like I said, the little electric reptile, a little electric lizard guy. I think his name was Gekoko with his first form. Then he evolved into this cool big lizard named Reptomotor. I liked him a lot. And then one of the first ones that I caught that I really, really fell in love with, I forgot the name of its first form, but it ended up evolving into Dominator. And I swear, this Nexomon, is the one that I would point to and say, if you think this game's ripping off Pokemon, you are right. Because that first form is Totodile wearing a mask.
It's fucking Totodile. It straight up is.
And his last form is Feraligatr wearing a mask. I love him. He stayed in my party through the entire game, and I loved him. So then, like, I started noticing, and then as soon as I saw that little sandcastle turtle, I was like, that's got to be in my party, right? I love him so much. That's my favorite monster in the whole game. I love all three of his forms. Tortle, yep. So I ended up with 3 very reptilian creatures in my party very early on. And I was like, I wonder how far I can take this. I ended the game with 5 reptile/amphibian types. I had those 3 that I mentioned. Rabombo, who evolved into Bomblasta, who's a fire frog, and then Crenode, which is a wind-type frog. The only one that I couldn't find was the 6th party member. I ended up with this weird plant dude named Fourier, which my least favorite member of the party. I'd replace him if I found another reptile type that I liked. But I looked it up and I didn't see any grass-type reptiles because I went very hard on the one of each of the elemental type types in the game. So plant, water, fire, wind, electric, and mineral. I didn't have a ghost, a psychic, or a normal in my party at all.
I bet I know who your main would be in Mortal Kombat.
Reptile.
Jax. Moving on.
You cocks. God, I love being on this show. That was just a really good laugh.
Continue, sir.
Because Jax was my main in Mortal Kombat, yeah. So those were my ones that I really enjoyed. I ended up with a full reptile team, or reptile/amphibian, because I just herping it up, you know? So what about you, Willie or Nicolau?
I'll go next. So you had 5 herbs.
5 herbs and spices?
And a plant. I don't know why I say herbs. 5 herbs and spices. Colonel Sanders, Colonel Firers, Colonel Planters. Colonel Mustard in the conservatory with a revolver. Yes, obviously, I never let Mosquito out of my party once I started a game. My starter. The only character I didn't nickname. I nicknamed every mon I caught, although most of them I just gave him a stupid pun name that, like, could be a plausible name for him. But Mosquito/Feli Blanco was there the whole time, and was often my top leveled guy by like 2 or 3 levels. But the other one I really loved is Drare, who I caught in the Drake Isles. He's a fire type monster, and I named him Draco Rex, and he's a fire dragon, and he grew into Acegon, who just whips ass.
Acegon's awesome.
Like Acegon is Charizard. He's fucking Charizard.
And I found him as a companion, which was
nice.
Cool. Oh, and that's real quick. There is a thing in this game where you can find these treasure chests and you find companions, and you can go into your little profile where you can change what your character looks like, and you can change your companion, which is literally just, if you listen to the Patreon,
it's like the Pikachu from Pokemon Yellow. Yeah,
it's just like the Pikachu from Pokemon Yellow, but you can just have different ones that you find. Like I found a Masquidi one and walked around with that.
Yeah, I had the Mosquito companion Pokemon, and yeah, it just follows you
I
around.
walked around with the turtle. As soon as I found the turtle companion, I just had a turtle following me through the rest of the game.
So I found the turtle companion. I never actually caught a turtle.
So I'm the only one who didn't actually let out a companion.
Oh, savage.
Yeah, no. I didn't find one that I really wanted to, and when I did, I'm like, well, I already have the final evolved form, so it would just mess with my headcanon.
Fair enough.
That's fair.
So
that's why I switched out Masquidi, is because I had Feli Blanco, and I was like, oh, this doesn't match anymore, so I got Ace Gun, and then I was like, oh yeah, I'm switching.
Now, see, that I would do. Like, actually, if I found one that I really liked that was like a final evolved form, I would probably go and catch one and put it in my party just so I can have that match.
You're like me.
Yeah. No, it's gotta... we were talking in the Patreon section that Pokemon Gold was your first game. I feel like Pokemon Heart Gold for the DS, like, took a great game and just made it better. And one of the things that made it better is that your lead Pokemon just follows you. Like, and they have sprites for every single catchable mon in that game, and they just follow you, and it's great. You could talk to them, and one thing I would like to see happen is, though, let's get some players to follow you. Like, I want Coco to follow me. I want a Coco companion.
That would have been cool. Like, if you find all the other companions, then you unlock Coco or something.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Something along those lines.
Coco and Atlas.
Atlas would be cool, too. I wouldn't.
There was an Atlas. You could get Atlas as a companion.
Really?
I found the Atlas companion, yeah.
Oh, damn. I guess I need to do some exploring.
I need to do some exploring myself. I would love it if Coco's in there, too, because I would just have Coco follow me around all day. But as far as favorite mons, mine was actually when I ditched my starter. Because I picked Lube because it looked like Flareon, and Flareon's one of my favorite mons.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was going to evolve into like this really cool Flareon lookalike, and I got to its evolve form, and it just looked fugly.
To be fair, I thought the second form was
was
pretty cute, but the third
great. So I had really high hopes for the
second
third
form. Was very much Flareon
yeah, I
juice.
had really high hopes for the third form, and I just disappointed me. So I'm like, you know what? You're going into storage. And I ended up finding a cat Nexomon that evolved into a critter called Fell Kitty. And it's basically a bipedal cat, like standing on its hind legs, with some beefy red claws, and
Incineroar!
I don't know if it's a skull or just this like really cool like cat mask. I don't even know if it's a mask or if it's its head, but like it gives you the impression that it's wearing like a wrestling mask. And that ended up becoming my new starter because
some Incineroar juice, basically.
I would argue that it looks better than Incineroar. Which is...
You know, I only like Incineroar because of his mannerisms in Smash. I don't know too much about him in the Pokemon games.
No, I get it, but... Incineroar is a likable Pokemon, don't get me wrong. But no, I ended up really liking Fell Kitty. The only other one that was, I would say, a close second would be this extinct Nexomon that was from the first game called Florizard, and I'm pretty sure the only reason I added him to my party is because the last 4 letters of its name were Zard. Like, oh look, it's Grass Charizard, except it really isn't. It looks nothing like him.
I'm just glad you got it Zarded in here.
Am I the one who's supposed to shake my head now?
Dalton's on mute, but he's cracking up.
Time for the obligatory facepalm.
You choose to be on this
You
show.
didn't just facepalm, you also just threw it down to your own facial hair, too. You're just like, oh, the whole face. My forehead, my goatee, everything.
Yeah, but then I could do the evil goatee rub afterwards.
That's true. You look like the master from the old Doctor Who.
I've never watched Doctor Who, but I will take that as a compliment, sir.
I heard he's a...
Yeah, no, he's cool.
I heard he's a master of puppets that's pulling your string.
Twisting your mind and smashing your
Quickly,
dreams.
speaking of Metallica, what the fuck is a whipping dance of the dead?
Well, it comes to fire, so it's fire type.
Way to bring it back. All right. I'm sorry,
The
I
world
had to
is
go
gone.
take
I'm
a super
just
fat
one.
piss. So where are we at?
We were talking about Mikola's favorite mons, and he was just getting upset at Willie.
I mean...
who isn't upset at me? I say the worst things on this show with a regularity that is
the
almost
only
alarming.
person that I know of that's worse with dad jokes than I am.
To be fair, sometimes I say the Harambe thing, and it's really
To be
funny.
fair.
To be fair...
To
To
be
be
fair.
The Harambe thing was really funny.
if that wasn't our most viewed TikTok, then TikTok is problematic.
So let's talk about a little bit of spoilers, gentlemen.
Before we do that, can we talk about the move mechanics?
Oh, sure. Yes, dude, I absolutely wanted to talk about the specifics of the moves.
So, do you want to start, Willie, or do you want me to start?
I just wanted to say, me and Nate both appreciated this a ton, that moves are both speed, accuracy, and damage. So, like, you can pick a move that hits fast and quick and has a high accuracy, but doesn't do a lot of damage. Or you could pick a move that's, like, strong and just, like... what was the joke name I gave you for a really strong... Jesus.
That was it, yes.
Where it's like... where it'll hit for like 99,000 damage, but it'll take like the second turn every time.
Yeah, I enjoyed that too. I also... If you're going to play this game, you really do have to get yourself out of Pokemon mode. Like, immediately, I started looking for, like, move tutors or TMs or something because my brain is programmed to think you need to have 4 different element moves.
Yeah, you're not getting type coverage outside of normal in this game. And normal is generally not one of the better types either because it has no... Normal is not strong against anything, and it is weak against 2 things.
Yeah, another thing that's needs to be said about the Mons in this game is there is not dual typing like there is in Pokemon. So there's not like a poison ghost type if you catch a Gengar or something. It's either just going to be straight ghost or straight grass or something because this game does not dual type, which personally I liked, but that's just me. I like that simplification. Another thing that I think is really important to know about the moves is I think status effect moves in this game are complete garbage because they have such low accuracy percentages on them. So if you just have a move that inflicts no damage and does confuse, it has like a 35% accuracy. Why would you put that on your character?
Whereas...
Yeah, pure status effect moves are garbage. The ones that may deal an effect but also deal damage, those are often quite good. Like Ice Flake that has a 20% chance of dealing frozen and also does damage, that shit's tight. But you do not want the move that just might do bound 1/3 of the time.
Yeah, that's what I found too. Actually, the only real useful non-damaging move was a move that I found, and I forget the name of it, but it basically made your opponent spend 25% more stamina to get
Dark
a move.
Wave.
What is it? Dark Wave.
Dark Wave.
Good job.
So that's great for Tyrant battles because also unlike Pokemon, you have HP and MP. And it's health and stamina. But if you run out of stamina and you try to do a move, it just pops up with a tired, and you lose your turn. So...
But you do gain, like, 10% stamina after that. So you get, like, an attack every other
turn,
basically.
So it really makes you pay attention to which move you're going to pick, because you may only have enough stamina.
Yeah, you don't have, like, 5 blizzards or whatever. You have, like... a single stamina pool.
Which I actually like that too because it put more emphasis on you needing to not just buy health items, you need to buy stamina restoring items. And actually this made an item in the game, elixirs, much more valuable because that restores both.
I had an ass load of money, so I had a full stack of super ethers. I call them ethers because I'm weird, but super ether. Go ahead, Nate.
Answer this question for me honestly.
Okay.
Did you go into the backside of the game and give yourself a shit ton of money to start the game?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah. I didn't in my original save. Like when I started over for the show, I just gave myself money, yeah.
I knew you did that. I'm proud of you. Good job, buddy.
Yeah, man. I was like, I'm not gonna start from scratch. But
I beat the original Nexomon. Clearly, 2,000 years of interest.
Thank you. Finally, someone understands. I was just like, man,
I still think you're a sticky cheater.
That's
bitch.
fine.
To
That's
be
fine, I don't
fair, I did also use the save editor.
You use the save editor to catch up to your file on one system.
I
on a
may or
second
may
system.
not have
You
thrown
didn't
myself
add
some
anything.
minerals while I was doing it.
And you were still struggling that hard. Skill issue.
Damn, Willie's being
Skill
a bitch
issue,
to the
nothing.
co-hosts
I
tonight.
won that battle. I won a battle that you, honest to God, thought I was going to lose.
It made really
did.
good television. Not gonna lie, that was really fun to watch.
Don't give me shade for that, because you enjoyed every second of my struggle.
So
No, for real, it was really fun to watch. I'm not sassing you. Genuinely enjoyed
I'm
that.
just
So-
messing with you anyway. Don't worry. I can never be mad at you.
I finished this
Aw.
game
Yeah, we're too cute.
with a level 99 Fele Blanco, right?
90. What the fuck? Why would you be level 99?
Why not?
I was like level 60 and I felt like I'd maybe grinded a little too much. Although the end battles were still a little too hard for level
Well,
60. But you just had to get the type guy.
I had 4 of the experience 3, so I got 80% extra experience with every fight, right? And Fele Blanco learns a move called, I think it was Psy-Ray, that does 160 power.
Yeah. Really
And
good
by the
shit.
time I hit level 70, I one-shot everything with that. So I had unless it was a rock type. Rock types took 2. Mineral, yeah.
They're minerals, Marie.
Jesus Christ, Marie.
They're marigolds.
I'm making a reference to a show I don't even watch.
But I had a fat stack of super ethers, whatever you want to call them. And I
Aethers.
just fuck shit. So any of the little trainers that I could refight, I'd be like, yeah, sure. I'd go and fight them and spend 30 seconds one-shotting all of their mon and getting, a stupid amount of experience. So yeah, I had a level 99.
Nice.
Hi, Greg the idiot. Let me step on your 2 caterpies.
It's like, I've been training since the last time you were here. Like the ones, it's like, this is my spot. You can't fight here unless you beat me.
Oh, I fought her so many times. I loved her. Just out the Paro.
And she'd just be like, I'm gonna beat you, and then you can't be here anymore, and it just never happened. Chick is like, no, you.
It's like, dog, do you not realize I'm a grandmaster in the
I'm a
guild
god.
now?
How can you kill a god?
What a
How can you
grand
kill a
and
god?
intoxicating innocence.
Shame on you, sweet Naravar.
I love how that's become like a slogan / like representative of our show is Dagoth the bad guy from Morrowind.
Yeah. Dagoth is definitely a mascot, and when Nathan gets his next animal, I think that will also become a mascot of the show if he follows through with the plan I heard from him.
Only if
Plan.
you name the animal Dagother.
No, but you guys will appreciate the name that I name it. But that's staying under wraps for now.
Yep, we're not telling.
Wraps.
I know.
So
and
don't
I'm
talk
not
about
telling.
Bruno.
We don't talk about Bruno.
So
We don't talk about Bruno Mars.
so now, would you like to get into some spoilers?
Yes. Welcome to spoiler section of the podcast. If you would like to not get spoiled, skip ahead until it doesn't sound like we're talking about spoilers anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't tell you how long the spoiler part's going
Because
to
that requires too much effort in the
I
editing.
trust- I'm just happy Dalton makes my echo go away.
So the big reveal is kind of like they.
Well, there's several big reveals. Maybe we should go in order of the big
Well,
reveals.
I feel like the first one is the chick from the guild has the tyrant killer that she's created.
No, that's not the first reveal. The first reveal is that Amelie created the dragons.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. She created them to fight the tyrants, and they kind of went haywire. And
for some reason, they're coming after you. I don't know why. but-
yeah, they keep trying to fucking get to you, and it's very strange.
Yeah,
right?
they don't like you for some
And on top of that,
reason.
there's a whole
If you-
group of humans that are trying to kidnap you and
yeah,
take your
that's also
tyrant egg.
weird.
Yeah, they want that egg.
Yeah, You might want to skip even further forward if you are this far and want to play the game, because I swear the plot is actually worth it. Despite being mostly comedic, the twists are landed really well in this game. And I kept guessing what the twists were going to be, and I got all of them wrong. Literally every single twist wrong. Except I did guess the player character. Well, I guessed it, and then I got pulled off of it, so yeah.
I have a screenshot where, like, we were talking in the game, they're talking about some of the plot, and Coco goes, "Man, this game just got dark."
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a main plot point where Amelia, whatever, however you want to say her name. I called her Amelie.
Amelie.
Oh, it is Amelie. Okay. So yeah, I called her Amelie in my head. So Amelie has created, is his name Vidos? Vados.
I said Vados.
Vados locos. Orale.
Yeah, they kept making this joke, this Conan Wolfpack NWO joke. Somos unos vados locos forever.
Viva la raza. We lie, we cheat, we steal. Okay, sorry. I love me some Eddie Guerrero too. But yeah, she's got Vados, and he is like the ultimate tyrant killer, tyrant hunter. But the thing about him is the way he was created is he will stop at nothing until there are no tyrants, which means if he has to destroy the entire fucking world, he will, if that will eradicate the tyrants. And that is a problem.
He's not a Nexomon. They go out of their way to say he's not a Nexomon.
Yeah, he's some kind of genetic freak, and he's not so he's got a 141% chance. I'm so happy I caught Nate off guard with that. That laughter was just pure sunshine in my ears.
Big Papa Vados.
I missed it. I was sneezing.
Oh, you're not a wrestling fan either.
It was a reference to a Scott Steiner TNA promo.
So I wouldn't have gotten it anyways.
You got about a 33.3% chance of beating me, Samoa Joe. Oh my god.
But Kurt Angle knows he can't beat me.
Try.
You guys broke Dalton.
We know Jeff loves these sections when we go off on wrestling tangents.
Grumpy Jeff.
But yeah, so we've been like going around to all the original tyrants, the sons and daughters of Omnicron, to hatch this egg that we've had to begin the game. The egg that should bring the Tyrant of Light into the world.
And so as you progress, you get these powers, and the egg will light up. But every time they give you a power, they're like, "Oh, this has all my power, but this egg didn't hatch? How weird. You're going to have to get more power."
Yeah.
Quickly, another one of my favorite characters. I've completely forgot about it till now. The little purple-haired chick.
Eliza, the psychic?
Is she the psychic? For some reason, I was thinking she was one.
You said little purple.
Yeah, she's like
chick.
purple with a little black hat, and she teleports you around. Again, spoilers. She's the one. She's the one that stops the. Yes, is it?
No, Renee was from Trails.
No, you son of a bitch. No, she's the one that stops the first credit roll. It's like, hey, the game's not over.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Eliza.
Her.
Yeah, she's fantastic. I couldn't remember her name, but yeah, she's fan-fucking-tastic.
Are you talking about the girl from the first game, or the one in the second game, the apprentice, quote unquote? Okay,
yeah, the apprentice. Yeah.
I do love her.
The original is Hilda.
There's another late game character that I like too, that I didn't want to talk about before we got into the spoiler section. Derek. Derek was the little scientist down in the underwater city.
Oh, the translator.
Always sipping a cup of coffee from a cracked cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy. He's the one. I actually have a screenshot of him pulled up right now, and his quote is, "Coco, my friend, you're a talking cat. Just play the game." He's the one who could translate everybody's idiocy, because you just go to the town in Idiocracy, basically.
Oh, and I love that their language is basically cat walking on keyboard. It's literally just key smashes. And there's one part where Derek, you fulfill what you need to do for him. You have to like go help bring him to repower like four generators. And then after you do that, he's like, I'll walk around with you and translate what these people are saying. And you go up to this one guy with like a big pot of soup. And they're just like, oh, tonight we're having for dinner. And they're like, Derek, why didn't you translate that? And he's like, you don't want to know. Don't eat the soup, kids.
My favorite line in that whole city, though, is like you take your Pokemon to the place where you get them healed there, and it's like, now your Pokemon are now fresh and healed. They taste better this way.
And Coco's like, wait, what?
Wait, what?
And that city is run by one of my favorite Omnicron children, which is Zeta.
Oh yeah, that guy was hilarious. Zeta cracked my ass up. I love when he tried to bail you out of the jail in Lateria, too.
She's like, well, sorry, it didn't work.
He just shows up and I'm like, I've been dead too long. I suck now.
Yeah, Zeta's tremendous, dude. He was just as much of an idiot in the first game.
Like, he's supposed to be the president of the underwater city, and it basically went to hell in a handbasket because he was the president.
Well, when I noticed the pattern, and I got to the underwater city, and I was like, there's only like one or two that I haven't seen, and people were talking about how like, oh, he's amazing, and all of a sudden I was like, oh my god, it better be, and it was.
And it was.
And I was like, yeah, Zeta.
I said that was one of my favorite parts of the whole game. Like, just the humor in that section was just top notch writing.
I really expected I would have to fight like one of the strongest tamers on the good guy team for the third battle, and it was just some asshole in a trash can.
And even Coco was like, "You're wearing a trash can." Yeah, no, and again, like, you talk to Derek for the first time, and they're like, "What is this? What's going on with these people? Why are they talking the way they're talking?" And he's like, "Oh, they're just idiots."
Yeah.
Yeah, so that ends up you end up finding out basically that much like Portal, the egg is a lie, and you yourself are the Tyrant of Light because you are the son of Dina, who is
the daughter of Omnicron,
and is the daughter that helps you defeat Omnicron in the first game. She is like the first rebel or whatever. Or renegade, thank you. And they give you this egg, and she goes around and tells everyone to lie to you about it and everything because she wants you to develop a relationship with humans, so that once you find out that you're this super powerful king of the monsters, which you can play on SNK if you ever want to check that out.
God damn it.
Once you find that out, you're king of the monsters. She wants you to have that where you don't go crazy with power,
king
and you can relate to humans, and you might be the one who can save the Earth or the planet, whatever it is.
Nobody got the Monty Python joke?
I didn't hear it.
King of the Who?
King of the Hill?
King of the Britons. I didn't vote for you.
Some watery talk throwing a sword is no method of blah blah.
No one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
You don't vote for kings. It's an autocracy.
'Tis just a flesh wound.
Sorry. I derailed that hardcore.
Yeah. So then, once you find that out, you end up having to go. And I'm summarizing because I still want people to like experience this for themselves. But like, you go and fight Vados, and you say "Vamos, Vados," and he was a hard fight. Even at a high level, he smacked me pretty fucking hard. But yeah, you're when you turn into your Omnicron and then you evolve into Omnisun, badass, absolutely badass. Oh, it's magic, you know. I am skipping over one of the funniest goddamn scenes that Nate messaged me about. When you get the airship and you set the airship up.
You get a Chivo for this too.
And Vados is at the top of the tower, and you go up there and you're just trying to distract him. And he's like, how could you possibly defeat me? And Coco's like, we got an airship. And he's like, what? And then it's animated. This airship just comes out of nowhere. Boom! And nails him and sends him flying off screen. And then it cuts to this. this like little cutscene flash thing of him just being driven forward by this airship soaring through, and then you get teleported on there and you have to fight him. But so out of nowhere, literally like an RKO, and it just cracked me the fuck up, dude. And Nate, I know you messaged me and you were like, bruh, we have an airship.
And just at the beginning of the game, when you're picking your character avatar and putting your name in, they show your player avatar falling out of a damaged airship with swirly eyes. So
I bet you wonder how I got here.
Yeah. So they give you kind of a hint to the end of the game at the beginning of the game. Like, there's also a scene, and again, I haven't, gotten to where you guys are yet, but there's also a scene with, like, a big giant dragon, and you have a lot of the major characters saying, "I will kill you, insert player name." And so
You've doomed us all.
You've doomed us all. So, like, the whole overarching, like, story in the back of your head is, like, how did we get here? How am I the bad guy? In fact, one of the achievements is, are we the baddies?
I was going to say, throughout the game, Coco's like, Are we the bad guys? I think we're the bad guys. And then one time he goes, okay, we're definitely the bad guys.
Yeah.
Like, it just evolves where he finally accepts, like, yeah, we're not the good guys here.
Yeah.
I love that it's called Are We the Baddies? It's literally a reference to a Mitchell and Webb look sketch. Classic British sketch comedy. I know we just did a Monty Python joke, so I thought I would give a shout out to Mitchell and Webb as well.
So, how spoilery do we want to get?
I've pretty much covered it.
I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we said the main spoiler, honestly.
The one thing I will say is I loaded into post-game, and you get quests to do certain things, and I went and caught all the greater drakes.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Which was fun.
I did not do that, but there is a Chivo for that, so I might go back and do
Why I did it.
The Lydia's Drakes thing.
There's another Chivo that I haven't gotten that I might go back and get, but I'm...
For fighting everyone twice.
Ooh, yeah, there's that. I need to get the break 500 boulders.
I think
participate in all the TV interviews. There's like a handful that I don't have, but I have most of the achievements, so I might
there were only
try
two
to...
TV interviews to do. I got that one.
Oh, see, I didn't do any TV interviews. That's a new one to me.
Yeah, I just did one.
Well, good stuff.
I did one in the Fire City. Where's the other one, do you know?
There's one that after you go back to... excuse me. It's right in front of like the item store in Param.
Oh, okay. I'll go check that.
There is one thing I want to talk about, but I don't know if how detailed I want to be on it. But there is one part in the late game where you're basically going to the top of the Drake Isle so you can like sense where all the tyrants are so you can go find them, and something major happens and you're just like, oh crap.
Oh yeah, when he goes straight over 9,000.
Yeah.
And just yeah, dude, that part I think even Willie like commented on that in our chat where he was like, damn. Just
was that the moment where you just like continued playing the game straight?
I think the thing that really got me there was the shit. What was it that just got me going really hard in the game? I think it was the it was before I had any.
It was Atlas. You know it was Atlas.
It might have been Atlas's appearance, actually.
I'm just kidding.
I don't know. At some point, I just started really getting hooked by the plot, and I was like actually really interested in where the plot was going. And instead of thinking of it as like knockoff Pokemon Gold, I started thinking of it as like an interesting story that I was really happy to see where it was going.
And I think that they did a really good job of weaving a very dark story with humor, and it was a good balance of the two.
Yeah, I agree. It had a lot of good moments that I just wasn't expecting, and a lot of moments where I just burst out laughing too.
For sure. Are you boys about ready to do some ratings?
Let's get doing it.
All right.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Make a love. What you gonna give this, buddy?
Well, I'm not giving it a 9 because we know what happened last time.
Well, I mean, you're not going to come back to this game and regret it.
No, I'm not. What the rating I'm going to give it, I'm not retconning. I think it's deserving of the rating that it has, but I have to factor in like things that it's also missing. So let me talk a little bit about some of the negatives first, because I think I went whole ham on the positives at the beginning of the podcast.
Sure,
but
yeah.
I kind of wish that there was more move variety and there were like move tutors so that you can customize your builds a little bit more. With that, I also wish that there was multiplayer. Like, this is a straight single player game, but I would have liked to have like gotten together with you guys and maybe not so much battled, but definitely traded, because I think I would have liked to have had something that like you owned, or you'd be like, I'll send you my favorite, you send me your favorite. Like, the game does need a multiplayer, and maybe the next one will. Or they'll keep it just a straight up single player JRPG. That it's easier to program a single player game than it is a multiplayer game. And so those two things kind of made my rating go down a little bit. I would also say, and you could fight me on it, that the soundtrack is very mid. Like, nothing really came out. I would say probably the best song is a little bit later in the game, where all of a sudden things just go straight up like Sephiroth style music.
He flies around the town.
Do the Stormblood thing next.
Get out of here.
This guy. So
This fucking guy.
This guy,
This guy, yeah. Don't tempt me.
oof. Anyway, so
Let's try your pick. Is it?
I would
pick.
say, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's not my pick. So it's regardless if I wanted to play this guy or not, it doesn't matter.
Oh, gotcha. So anyway, those three things kind of brought my rating down a little bit. But the mons are good, the story's good, the gameplay loop is good. I'm giving it a straight 8 out of 10.
All right. Mr. Red Hoodie with the L on it. What you think?
So, I'm going to go ahead and disagree with several of the things that Mikolov just said. I actually thought that the music, like, at first I thought it was very generic, like, RPG Maker music almost. But the more I played it and the more I listened to it, the more I was like, yeah, actually, they're doing a lot of really cool stuff. Even the orphanage theme, where it, like, picks up after 45 seconds or something, is pretty dope. I thought the music was actually kind of tight. I also thought that the mon design mostly left a lot to be desired. I think that there were like 20 or 30 really dope ones and like 400 mid ones. But ultimately, I really think this game did a really good job of going from, oh, I'm just a silly little guy who is a, Pokemon game doing the goofs and breaking the fourth wall, to, oh yeah, here's an actual story that is interesting. And I ended up getting way more caught up in the story than I expected. And I think I'm actually going to give this game 8.25 tacos out of 10 empanadas.
We didn't talk about the food mechanic.
That's okay. We can't talk about everything.
I know. I completely forgot about it until he brought up tacos.
I'll switch it up and give mine and let Nate go last.
Ooh.
I think I probably enjoy this game the most. I could be wrong. But
I mean, I enjoyed it a shitload.
to me, this game told its story like a wrestling storyline. As weird as that is to say, it's like R-Truth would pop in every now and then, but it was like playing through something. It was just well told. Ups and downs, twists, turns, Edge banging Lita in the middle of the ring. There's just all kinds of goodies. I thought it was funny. I thought the mon designs were good. Like, I mean, none of them were like, holy shit, look at that. That's fucking wow. But they were all like enough that I was like, okay, these feel different enough that they don't look like Pokemon or Digimon to me, other than Feraligatr in a mask. And just the fact that this game, I'm sitting in a room playing it by myself and I would laugh out loud at things. It just, I'm going to give it 9 Cocos out of 10 Atlases.
All right. Because that just leaves your boy here.
Your boy.
Your boy. So one thing I'll say about this game is, one thing you bring up a lot, Dalton, when we talk about monster games, like if you want a Pokemon game with an actual story that's not just your typical fare, you should play
Persona 5. Or Persona.
No, Shin Megami Tensei.
Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah.
And I think this is a good alternative to that, kind of the midpoint between them. It has a game that has a good story. Like, the story in this game is better than any Pokemon game I've played in the current generation or anything close to it. Like, the closest Pokemon has come to making a compelling storyline to this was Arvin's dog in Scarlet and Violet. That's the closest thing Pokemon's had to a decent storyline in a long time.
Which is unfortunate.
I agree, but I'm just calling facts whether I have them. Music, I'm going to side with Nikolov here. I didn't think it was anything to write home about. I thought it was fine. I thought it did a good job. It set the tone for what it was supposed to, but none of these songs are going to make it anywhere close to my steamy 2024 awards. Let's just be legit about that. Monster design overall, I think, was decent. It was good. But here's the thing about it. I think overall Pokemon design is decent and good. There's stinkers and winners in every generation, no different than here. There's some that were really stood out and I loved. This game has the best turtle I've seen in a monster catching game. I'm just going to throw that out there.
And its final evolved form was Chef Kiss.
Even more
it's better than Blastoise, definitely.
Wow.
So yeah, I think that this game does a lot of things really well. I think it does some things not as well. I do think that the battle system is a little underwhelming, even compared to Pokemon in some ways, because at least status effect moves and things like that are useful in Pokemon. But I do appreciate the hell out of the fact, like Nikolai said, there's no IVs and things like that to worry about in this game. Overall, I think this is a very good game, and I would actually highly recommend this to anybody that's kind of wanting to try something Pokemon-esque, that wants something a little bit different, but not too different. Because let's be real, this is different, but not too different from Pokemon. It does exactly what it's trying to do, and I think it does it very well. And like I said, the story is way, way better than anything we've gotten out of Pokemon in a very long time, or if ever. So for me, this game is going to get a decent rating. It's going to get 8 turtles out of 10 geckos.
All right. And it also gives me hope for games like Koromon, which is a different developer, but it's the same style of game. You know what I mean? So it's that might be a fun one to get to eventually, too.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny that we play this game when Pal World is kind of having its time in the sun right at this moment. I honestly don't have any interest in it, but I think it's hilarious, the conversations that it keeps bringing up. That people are talking about how it ripped off Pokemon, and then I'm seeing everywhere how Pokemon ripped off of Dragon Quest, and I'm like, haha, suck it. Y'all know how I feel about Dragon Quest.
People are calling Pal World Arc with Pokemon, and I'm like, I've played Arc with Pokemon, so I might be able to get behind that. That sounds pretty cool. Yeah. And people have already made mods for Pal World that put Pokemon in the game.
Oh yeah,
and those mods have already been taken down.
Oh dude, one's already got DMCA. Yeah,
really?
Oh yeah.
Damn, Pokemon Company's quick as shit.
Guy started thinking he could charge for it.
That's the problem right there. You can't charge for shit
like
that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what he did. He started charging.
He started.
I was about to have Eddie put his Patreon.
No,
you're done.
No,
you're done,
that guy's paying Nintendo the rest of his life.
Also,
Nintendo was.
It couldn't have been hard to change the models over. Come on, look at him. Look at him.
They're really
for real.
So I'm not the only one who has zero interest in Pal World.
No, it doesn't interest me that much. Honestly, I would much rather play this than that.
It's like a Rust. It's like a Rust-like game, and I don't really give a shit about that. I don't care about survival games.
I actually read an article earlier today that the headline was, "I'm sick of punching trees for wood."
Yeah, fair enough. If I want to play Minecraft, we have Minecraft.
See, for me, it's Animal Crossing.
Or Terraria.
Even Terraria.
Any of those.
Let's just give Dalton a vape so they can play Terraria. We're good.
Yeah, I would much rather fire up a game of Terraria with you guys than start Pal World.
Yeah. All right. So I guess that leads us into our mailbag. Listen to questions our good listeners have brought to us over on the Discord. You should join that. It's a really good time. Our first question comes in from Mr. Puzzles Dane himself. He got this from a tweet on Twitter, or I guess an X on X, or whatever you want to call it. Can a ghost and a zombie come from the same person?
No, because zombies aren't real. Ghosts are.
I would say...
I'm just trying to cause controversy.
I would say yes, because I feel like the ghost is an embodiment of a soul, and the zombie is the remnants of the body.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, but depends on the version of zombie you're going with. If you're going with Last of Us fungus, then yes. If you're going with zombie is a reanimated human and the brain has activity, it's just limited, then no.
I don't know. I'm just sitting here imagining a ghost following its zombie around, being like, "No, stop that! You're embarrassing me."
That's gross. Quit it.
Girl, we used to be a lawyer. Get it together. I think was the
Yeah, it's so good. All right. Our next question comes in from Kana, who this meme. It's from a meme. It has Jigsaw in it. And basically the meme is 3 things to buy at Walmart to make the cashier as uncomfortable as possible.
2 25-pound kettlebells and a
I'm abstaining.
That's fair.
Fair.
A flashlight. A grapefruit. Some paper towels.
So I'm going to go... the full season 2 of Death Note, some lube, and an action figure of Vince McMahon.
Is that season 2 of the Netflix Death Note or the
anime? Because they're going to think it's weird Japanese porn shit. Because it's where I live, they're just going to see cartoons and be like, "Oh, this weirdo watches cartoons."
So it's when the show got worse, but the theme song got better.
Huh.
Dude, the season 2 Death Note theme is fucking dope,
Nice.
though, for real.
All right. This next question comes in from Dane. If companies listed ROMs for old abandoned retro titles, no emulator, no DRM, just the same ROM dump you probably already pirated for $5 a pop, would you buy them?
No, because it's not going to the people that actually coded and drew the game. It's just going to fucking David Activision. I don't give a shit about the property owners. I give a shit about the people that made the things.
It depends.
Yeah.
To me, honestly, if they popped up on, like, GOG and I could just easily load them without having to load through an emulator or something. I think the bigger thing is it would have to have an emulator attached to each individual ROM, so I didn't have to worry about the emulation properties of it, and they just played normally well. But, like, honestly, games, for the most part, I'm going to say no, because if there's going to be one that I buy, it's going to be like a collection of games. Like, I've bought the Castlevania collection on the Switch, I've bought the Contra collection on the PC, and that's basically just so I can have an easier way to play those games outright. If I'm going to have to go through the effort of doing that with ROMs, fuck it, no.
I mean, I bought the Sega Mega Drive Genesis collection, and that's just an assload of ROMs that I already have on my computer, but I have them on Steam now.
Yeah.
Achievements are a bitch. And now that I have retro achievements hooked to my RetroArch, it's like, well, damn.
Oh, here's the thing about that Sega collection that really pisses me off. Those achievements, if you've bought the game in the last few years, are now impossible to get because when they decided to release games like Sonic Origins and things like that, they removed the ROMs for Sonic 2, Sonic 3.
Did they really?
Sonic CD. You can no longer get Sonic CD on Steam. I have a copy of Sonic CD on Steam. Go to the Steam store page for that game now. You cannot buy it on Steam.
Really?
Wow.
Yep. That's something that pissed me off about Sega, them doing that, because it's like, because now those achievements are impossible to get. Because I didn't do my research when I bought the Genesis collection, because I thought I was going to get Sonic 2 and 3 and be able to play those through. They're gone.
The number one comment on the Sonic CD page in the comment section is Sonic Origins can suck my dick. Yeah,
Well, that's a good review for Sonic Origins. Then I would love a game that could do that.
One thing that pissed me off about it too is, and this was in the PS4 version as well. So the PS3 version of the Genesis Mega Drive collection, if you played Phantasy Star 2, 3, or 4, I don't remember which one it was, for a certain amount of time, it unlocked the first Phantasy Star for Sega Master System, and you could have all 4 Phantasy Star games on that one disc to play.
That's cool.
They took that out of the PS4 version and the Steam version.
Yeah.
So you just have Phantasy Star 2, 3, and 4, but not 1. And I'm like, what the fuck?
So, no, I don't want to pay for ROMs. Let's be real.
Yeah, no. I have them all already anyway.
Yeah.
So, after the show, Google EmuDeck. EmuDeck. This was originally for Steam Deck. It is now available on Windows. And it is an automated emulation front-end setup. So basically what it's going to do is it's going to install your emulators for you. It's going to give you folders where you could drop your ROMs in and your BIOS files. It's going to curate them all into a front end called Emulation Station Desktop Edition, and it's gonna let you pick the game. It'll fire up the emulator, it'll fire up the appropriate core, and you can just play it. You don't have to do any of that other guesswork.
Nice.
I'll have to check that out. I've done so much to make my RetroArch look pretty, though.
I mean, it mostly uses RetroArch. There's just like a few other things that, are standalones. Like PSP is better on the standalone emulator than it is on RetroArch, but yeah, it's if you don't have any emulation set up on your computer whatsoever, just go to EmuDeck and let them do it all for you.
Cool. All right. Let's dive into this next question then. This one's from Adam. He wants to know if there's a series that you have not played or finished a game from that you want to start in 2024.
I should probably play Persona 5. We were supposed to do it last year, and
I had a year to play through that game. I made it like a quarter or a fifth of the way through. It's hard to play that game in even a fucking year.
Yeah, that's a game. That's why I was like, let's just play it over the year, because we would have had to just focus on that game and just play that game all year. No other games. It's like we just come in, okay, we're doing Persona 5 parts 1 through 12, motherfuckers, enjoy. Or, whatever. But yeah, no, it's all good.
So
that I have not played.
My answer, while you're thinking there, Dalton, will make a listener very happy. There's a series that I know I've played some of the games before. I can't recall if I've ever beaten one or not. But a series that I would like to play this year, and I'm edging you even further, Dane, is Devil May Cry. It's a really cool series, really cool protagonists and things like that. I wish I could be the one to fill your dark soul with light. I just would really like to get into that series.
Oh, Nate. The dry humor. I love it. I'm here for it. For me, I think I want to actually sit down and play Baldur's Gate 3.
Nice.
It's good.
Actually, can I go back and add another thing? You say /finished. I've never beaten a Souls like.
You're not missing much.
So I would love to finish Elden Ring, Dark Souls 3, Sekiro, one of those.
I'm not a fan of those games, but that's just me. That's a me problem.
Yeah, well, skill issue. Try not being a huge bitch.
For me, it's more my life is living hell, and when I sit and play a video game, I want to relax, not get my...
Yeah, that's why you go to the bonfire and you recover all your shit.
I get beaten enough in real life. I don't need to get beaten in a video game, too.
The Pursuer in Dark Souls 2 was super easy. Get at me, bros.
Isn't that the one where you, lose permanent health?
All of them, you lose permanent health if you don't get your humanity recovered.
Well, crap. Yeah, no, not for me, but you enjoy.
All right, I have a...
But you only lose 50% at most.
Enjoy.
I have a few answers. I have a few. So Siberia. Those games, they sound really, really cool. I want to get into them. Ultima. I would like to do an Ultima game, probably Ultima 7, if any of them. Wing Commander would be fun to do for the show, for sure.
Shit, I would fuck up Wing Commander. That sounds really fun, actually. I have a flight stick over there I could actually use.
And, oh man, I just saw it on my Steam list, and now it unscrolled. Leisure Suit... No, I'm just kidding. One of the Metro games.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Those look stupid cool, dude. And I have never actually beaten any of them, and I really, really would like to. I'm still scrolling, trying to find the one that jumped out to my fucking eyes just not that long ago.
Speaking of Eastern games, like, I'm surprised we haven't done Stalker.
Thank you, motherfucker. That's what I was scrolling looking for. And yeah, Stalker. Yeah, Shadow of Chernobyl, bro. That's the one. That's the first one, and I really want to try the Stalker games, dude.
That's the one I'm most interested in out of the ones you said, for sure.
Yeah, I would love to give that a game a shot.
Fallout in Russia.
Sitting there and...
There is one more game I would add that I want to play in 2024, and that's No Man's Sky.
We'll do it.
Well, we would be happy to take
Please.
you to No Man's Sky and make it.
We can show you the
Sky.
worlds.
Shining, shimmering.
There's a specific look I'm
splendid.
going for too.
Tell me, Mikolov, now when did you last let your heart
What?
decide?
I lost you, Willie.
It's okay, just
Or
continue
you
on.
lost me.
Just continue on. Just keep going.
Rolling.
All right, our next question comes in from Jeremy, aka the Villain. It is a red pill, blue pill question, and I've been looking forward to this one because I want to piss some people off. So it's a red pill, blue pill. Like I said, the first one, the red pill, you have Adam Sandler. The movies involved Big Daddy, Waterboy, Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, and Little Nicky. The blue pill is Jim Carrey, where you have The Mask, Ace Ventura, Cable Guy, Liar Liar, and Dumb and Dumber. You taking that red pill or that blue pill, boys?
All right, so I'm a fan of both, but objectively, I don't really care for The Mask all that much. But I like all of those Adam Sandler movies. So I'm going red pill, even though I love Ace Ventura. I'm going to Adam Sandler, red pill.
I only like two of these movies, and both of them are Adam Sandler movies. The Waterboy and Happy Gilmore are really good.
Really? You'd like that one?
Billy Madison's funny.
I think
That's hilarious.
But like The Mask and Ace Ventura are so fucking 1994. Like, you cannot go back and rewatch them and be like, oh yeah, I get that.
I will say,
like, Ace Ventura is wicked transphobic, and The Mask is just not fucking funny.
the Ace Ventura that I go back to is the second one, When Nature Calls, when they're off in the jungle.
Yeah.
That's my favorite Ace Ventura.
Oh, fair enough. The elephant poop joke or whatever.
Down
There's
Boba,
something
and he makes
there,
him
I
sit
guess.
on a car. Yeah.
Okay, see,
tremendous.
I thought I'd be alone here, and I'm absolutely not, because looking through the list of the Jim Carrey movies, like, I'm sorry, Jim Carrey got better with the later movies, because, like, Jim Carrey, Truman Show, fantastic. Jim Carrey, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, fantastic. Jim Carrey, The Mask, terrible. Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura, not great. Jim Carrey, Cable Guy, blech. Like,
Jim Carrey, Sonic the Hedgehog, mint.
yeah.
I love Dumb and Dumber, though. I'm going to go through I have a love in my heart for Dumb and
Out
Dumber.
of all of those movies on the Jim Carrey side, Dumb and Dumber is the best one, and I don't even really like it that much. However, from the Adam Sandler side, Big Daddy's pretty funny. Waterboy, amazing. I love that movie. That was the movie I watched like every other day in high school. Happy Gilmore, The Price is Wrong, bitch. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Billy Madison, just top tier as well. Little Nicky, I liked it when I watched it. I have not gone back to it because I am horrified of what that's like now.
To me, it's still funny.
Little Nicky was kind of the transition to his next.
So like, even though that's the case, I have to go Red Pill Adam Sandler all day here.
Popeye's chicken's fucking awesome.
That's some high quality H2O.
There's still some shit in Little Nicky that hits, like the two metalheads who die and go to hell, and they're super thrilled about it.
Yeah.
In all of these movies, I can remember several moments from all of the Adam Sandler movies, but the Jim Carrey movies, the only things I remember are, the one-liners. Like, Cable Guy,
Steven.
But, and then there's only one more scene is in Liar Liar, where, nope, never mind, it's not Liar Liar.
I'm kicking my own ass, do you mind?
It's Bruce Almighty. It's not even on the list.
Bruce Almighty's great. That's a good
Bruce Almighty's a good movie.
Yeah, I like that.
I enjoyed it. It's not on this list.
Yeah. It was okay, yeah.
It was okay. I went to see it in theaters, and it was fully okay. I laughed less than I did.
What?
I mean,
I love
Mr. Deeds is good. I like Mr. Deeds.
And that's a remake. I didn't know that until one day I walked in the living room with my dad. I'm like, what are you watching? My dad goes, I'm watching Mr. Deeds.
Yeah, Mr. Deeds Goes to Washington.
Yeah,
It's
I was
a
like,
classic
what?
I'm glad that you guys glossed over the fact that I almost called Bruce Almighty Liar Liar. That was almost a Radiohead Machine Head moment.
No, that wasn't that bad. But
We've been goofing about the Radiohead Machine Head thing since you've been.
I know. That's one of the key moments of my guest appearances.
And the weird thing about this question is, like, I think objectively, Jim Carrey is a better actor and funnier than Adam Sandler. But out of these movies and these choices I have, I cannot not say Adam Sandler here, which makes me think things.
Well, I mean, the Jim Carrey movies you've given us are like the really memey 90 ones. Like, the smoking! Do not go in there!
That being said...
movies. Whereas the Adam Sandler ones you gave us are the ones that actually have jokes.
Yeah, but they're still pretty memey.
Yeah. You can't gloss over that, but I would still rather go back and watch the Adam Sandler ones. I'm not even questioning that for half a second.
The Adam Sandler movies just have
one time I was
more quotable moments and more memorable scenes, whereas the Jim Carrey movies are just one-liners.
Yeah.
One time I was in home ec class in high school, and someone brought in a VHS tape that said Big Daddy on it, and it was just a hardcore porno.
Nice.
I thought it would have been footage of that British wrestler.
That is Big Daddy, yeah.
Deep cut.
Dude fought like Haystacks Calhoun or some shit. Not even Haystacks Calhoun, Giant Haystacks. Different guy.
Well, moving on from that was a lot less controversial than I thought, at least among the hosts. We'll see what happens when it gets to the Discord.
Right.
Our next question comes in from Kana. Satan opens a door to heck, a lighter version of hell. What tortures are in it?
Oh, dude, someone constantly tickling your feet with feathers.
Ooh.
Ugh.
I can play Doom, but it's only levels made by American.
When you're laying in bed, when you have the covers on, you're just a little too hot, a little uncomfortable. But the second you take those covers off, you are freezing, and you just cannot find the sweet spot between heat and cold.
Ooh.
And your pillowcase is never cool.
Bitch, that's where I've been.
You have the best gaming setup known to man that continuously updates as it updates in the living world, but you can only play Starfield.
At that point, I would probably put a shitload of hours into that game just to fill time. Let's see. Oh man, you have to have sex with Trisha every night. No, that would be hell.
Oh no, that is like eighth circle.
Yeah, that's not
That would be hell.
That's in Frick, not Heck.
Oh,
in heck. Oh man, there's a lot of puppies and kittens and cats and dogs that are all like behind this gate.
And Bucky Bitso.
And they all just like want you to pet them, but you just can't reach them to pet them.
that's terrible.
They have They have plenty of games like Whack-A-Mole and things like that, but all the moles are stuck.
I love Mole Stuck. That's my favorite webcomic.
Mole Stuck, they toured with Mudhoney, right?
God, I'm done. Okay.
You walk into a...
We are really just going.
All right, our next question
point.
comes in from Jeff. Which game gets progressively worse with each new update or patch?
World of Warcraft. They ruined it after Cataclysm. Even though I loved Pandaland.
I agree with you 100% on that. Wrath of the Lich King was peak Warcraft.
I think Cataclysm was, but that we don't need to argue that.
No, but we are kind of in the same general area of when it started to go downhill.
When you could still make your character unique.
Right.
I think... Oh, go ahead. I would say, personally, I think that Ultimate Fishing Simulator has just continually gotten worse since the new devs took over. And, like... And,
Miss Bit Golem.
RP Bit Golem. Y'all are the real ones. But, like... And, like, I got so bummed out today because I saw this on Steam. An announcement announcing Ultimate Fishing Simulator remastered, plans for 2024 through 2025. They are upgrading and redoing everything. Which makes me so sad because I like the game in the state that it was when Bit Golem left it.
There's an Ultimate Fishing Simulator too.
Yeah, I don't know why they're doing this. It's really frustrating to me. And they're redesigning all the maps apparently too. And the one good thing they're doing is they're doing a full VR rework. So even if you have the base game, the VR is going to work now instead of having to buy the secondary VR setup. But I'm like, God, quit messing with this game. You've made it worse. You've made it worse.
It's too bad we're talking about games instead of hardware, because I would argue that Apple technology is getting worse the further we get from Steve Jobs' death.
I mean, that's fair. There's, like, less innovation, for sure. My horrible answer is, like, there's a reason that OSRS exists now. Like, people do not want to play RuneScape in its form today. They want to play old school RuneScape.
Yeah. Well, that's like Warcraft Classic. They saw that old school RuneScape and they were like, oh, I bet we can make money off of that. Yeah.
All right. Next question comes in from Dalton. You're being sold as an action figure. What 2 accessories do you come with?
I asked the question, so I'm not going first.
I'll go first.
BFG 9000 and a rabbit head.
Nice.
Kyle and a Steam Deck.
Nice. It's hard.
If it's hard for more than 4 hours, you should call a doctor.
It's true. It's true.
Oh, I knew that was coming, and neither was Nate.
Hey.
Oh, you knew it was coming, and that's why you put
know
your
what?
hands over your eyes.
I'm just going to give myself... My accessories are going to be a Mogwai from Gremlins and a baseball hat, because they're fun to wear. You can do my hair and dress me anywhere.
Especially the purple version of the Bat's hat.
That's me. What about you, Dalton? An electric guitar and a J? No, he said he wasn't going to go first because it was his question.
Wow, dude.
An electric guitar for sure. And...
Oh yeah, he had an answer called up this whole time, and he's just really reaching deep into his bowels to pull it out.
It's right up in there.
He's not stalling at all.
Right up in there.
I think like a double quarter pounder.
Nice.
Just because it'd be funny and an ode to my roots, and because those things are still delicious.
All right.
Learn all on my roots.
All right. Our next question and last question comes in from Jeff. And you have to pick a Pokemon lineup from Gen 2. Your first set. It sets of 5 for some reason, which is weird because that doesn't even make a whole team. But option 1, you get a Totodile, a Noctowl, an Espeon, I don't know how to pronounce this one, a Scizor. And a Granbull. Option 2, you get a Chikorita, a Togetic, a Magcargo, a Steelix, and a Heracross. Option 3, you get an Apom, a Houndoom, a Hitmontop. Oh shit. Skarmory, thank you, and a Sudowoodo. And then the final
Sudowoodo Kudo.
And then the final choice, you get a it's not
Cyndaquil.
Cyndaquil. I was trying to try to think of Quilava. Cyndaquil, a Xatu, an Umbreon, a Donphan, and an Ursaring. So there's two that I'm torn between here.
I really do like pretty much everyone of the last row, to be honest, but
I know I'm not going to take row 2 or 3 because I hate Chikorita and I hate Apom. As much as I might like Heracross and Houndoom, those two Pokemon just ruin those rows for me. So it's between the first row and the last row for me.
Yeah, I am also torn between the first and last. Because as much as I love Totodile, you go in there with the last two of that bottom team and you're going to roll. Figuratively and literally because of Donphan.
Yeah. Yeah, but you have that knockdown in Group 1 to knock him out, and then you have Caesar and Granbull, which are pretty tough, and Espeon. I'm going Group 1. I'm taking Group 1.
I'm also going Group 1 just because I like 3 of the 5 Pokemon on that list, the Totodile, the Espeon, and the Scizor. And the other rows are just kind of meh. Funny story, Chikorita was the only Gen 2 starter that actually made the cut. They had completely different designs planned for the Water and the Fire starter.
Yeah, and Chikorita sucks, so they should have cut that one too.
I agree.
Yeah, but like Magcargo and Steelix are making that a really tough one.
I do like Magcargo a lot, honestly.
And I like Steelix a lot.
I mean, Steelix is like, you took one of the best Gen 1 Pokemon and made it more better. And then gave it a new typing too. Like, that's really rough for me. I think I am going to go I'm going to go with the Heart one, though, because I just really do love Espeon, Donphan, and Ursaring.
Well, then I'm going to go Carriact because I like Black Trip Pants Hot Topic over Pink Frilly Pants Hot Topic. So,
fair enough.
All right.
Umbreon, baby.
All right, and that wraps up the questions.
It does, and that means that before we get into house cleaning, sir, you have to tell everybody what your next host pick is.
All right, I teased a little bit today, and I'm really happy with the way that the bait was taken. Our good listeners kind of edged themselves trying to guess what my host pick was going to be, because I just posted, guess whose host pick it is. Find out the next game when the episode drops. At least one listener is going to wet their pants. And then I started getting a bunch of guesses. Dane, I believe that's a Devil May Cry. Kana thinks it's going to be Borderlands 2. Jeff thinks it's going to be Red Dead Redemption 2. Adam thinks it's going to be Yakuza 4. And then Jeff also thinks it's going to be Final Fantasy 9. So, I will go ahead and say, one of those is correct. Good job. For our next, not the next episode, because this is a long game, so we are going to hit up the retro game poll between. So we are going to be playing Super Noah's Ark next, followed by Red Dead Redemption 2. Jeff, start playing if you want to get on that episode with us, baby.
Yeah. Also, at least the last time I checked, Super Noah's Ark 3D is on sale on Steam.
I'm going to play it as a ROM on Super Nintendo.
Oh, there you go. I bought it on Steam. So I'm going to play it on there. But that's fine. So there you go. Yeah, I bought a ROM for $5.
Hey!
You sure
Bringing it around.
But dude, yeah, fuck yeah. Red Dead Redemption 2. Boys, I can't wait to do some cowboy shit with you. And then maybe we can get in some Red Dead Online and y'all can meet Jackie Briggs, who is my online guy. And he's a serious lad, but he'll take care of you. He'll do you right.
Jax Briggs?
His name's Jackie Briggs. Yes, sir.
Very curious to hear your guys' thoughts because this is a game that I put down and said this isn't for me.
I love it.
I don't believe that video games exist.
We shall see. All right, boys. Well, then we need to get into. All right, I'll save that for that episode. We need to get into the house cleaning. So, If you would be so kind as to leave us a review on iTunes or Spotify, that would be just swell. Make it a 5-star review, and I check in on those every now and then, and when we get new ones, I read them on the show. So if you want to get read up on the show, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. And if you would like to join the Discord, bit.ly/TSMP Discord, all capital letters. That'll get you in. You can join in on the fun, and that includes voting on the game polls. And right now, the last winner of a game poll is Mega Dimension Neptunia Victory 2. And then winning the current poll is Monster Hunter World. And it is to the point where I might make a new poll and just call Monster Hunter as the winner, because we have had the same votes now for 2 weeks. So if it pushes over into another one, looks like Monster Hunter World won. So there's that short game poll up right now. The last winner was Sega Bass Fishing, and the poll that is up there is a tie. There is a tie between Arcana Heart 3 Love Max and Quiverdick's Terrible Parents to Read to Their Equally Terrible Children.
Yeah, I just voted for Arcana Heart 3 Love Max. I don't care.
All right, so there's that, and then the retro poll, the last winner was Supernova's Arc 3D, which is what we will be playing over the next 2 weeks, and when the next episode comes out for you, and then we'll be getting to Red Dead Redemption 2. And the next, the poll that is up right now, the winner, or not the winner, but the winning game at the moment is Legend of the River King for the Game Boy Color. So we got 2 fishing games that are, one's winning a poll and one has won a poll.
Hell yeah!
So I'm cool with
Raise
it.
hell, praise Dale.
Raise hail, praise Dale.
Raise hell, praise Dale.
Praise Dale, praise Dale.
So yeah, that and all the shenanigans and chat and memes and all of that stuff, bit.ly/TSMP Discord. Come join in on the fun. You want to check out the website, which is up to date thanks to one Dane himself, bit.ly/The Steam Machine Podcast. Just capitalize that phonetically, you'll be fine. If you would like to donate to the show and help me keep the lights on, that would be wonderful. And that is patreon.com/The Steam Machine Podcast. You get your episodes early. You get some banter that you don't get to hear on the regular episodes beforehand. And you get them ad-free, even though I don't put ads in the show anymore. That's still just like part of my spiel. Shout out to Yavs Pod, get under the BS podcast that is on hiatus, but you never know when we might pop back up to talk about some Grumpy Jess Pro Wrestling Power Hour. Ugh. Shout out to the JRPG Report, a show I do with some asshole.
Yeah, that jerk.
That is a show that me and Mikolov do as a bi-weekly on the off weeks of Steam Machine. We do the JRPG Report, and you can get all your JRPG news there.
Yo, I do everything bi-and weekly.
Yeah, buddy. Merch link Steam Machine or tsmpproductions.threadless.com. If you like the music from the show, the intro and the outro, and anything else you might hear by me, nilthenightmare.bandcamp.com. And again, please leave us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Mikolov, plug your shit.
TeamRetrogue on YouTube, TeamRetrogue on X. I'm also on the JRPG Report, and you could find me in 3 different Discords. JRPG Report, of course, Steam Machine Podcast, and Retro Handhelds.
All right. Hey, boys, got anything else you want to plug? All right. Nope. Then let's go fight Jesus and then be cowboys.
Hell yeah.
That sounds fun to me. All right. On that note, everybody.
Shooting.
I'm just gonna go beat. I'm just gonna go beat Nexomon.
Do it.
I'm gonna go beat something. On that note, for the Destructo Bros, for Mikolov, my name is Dalton. As always, everybody, take it easy.